Hello and welcome to a random late night stream. I hopped on Discord and I seen there's a couple people kind of chilling. We started just, shooting the shit about random Star Citizen topics. So I thought, maybe I'll throw the stream on. It might be interesting to catch some of our random thoughts. Any of you guys as well, if you have any thoughts or input, definitely throw them in the chat. We'll get a good discussion going here. Just nothing in particular, but we were just talking about, random weekly updates and all that fun stuff. But I'll get in the Discord here and see what they're all saying.
It put me, after this crash, it put me back sitting right in front of Grimhex again.
Oh,
unbelievable.
Wait until persistence.
Like in your ship?
Yeah, I'm sitting here just like kind of wigged out in my ship, but
yeah,
it's all messed up.
Yeah, I'm curious with the persistence stuff too, how that's going to go down.
Well, that's like what we were bantering about. Like, that was my huge thing where I was like, dude, for persistence, I really want, like,
I really want when you
a certain
crash,
set of.
You come back to your ship. I don't even care if it resets to like 0-0 on the planet, but you come back in your ship with your rock that was in it and the ore that was in it, or your prospector or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, this crashing crap and losing everything.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody
Hey,
makes
I
any
don't...
money in this game.
Well, mining and stuff. But yeah.
Well, that's what I do. I mean, I nail 100% quant loads, but I crash on the fucking way to drop it off.
Yeah. Anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, I was saying earlier there, though, when I was watching that video on the AI for Squadron 42, I noticed that they were talking about all the different animations and showing some of the different animations, and I know it's just kind of the classic Star Citizen, kind of how some of the AI, like, moves around, but it did look a little bit, like, janky, about almost like how, like, they had one guy who was, like, leaning up against stuff. And one thing I kept noticing that they were doing is always having, like... It's almost when they decide to move, they kind of, like, turn and, like, kind of sprint. And it doesn't seem quite, like, natural. And then also, like, you would see them just, like, kind of walk down a corridor, stop, bend down, and just, like, start welding out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And I was like...
Oh, yeah.
I kind of appreciate...
That was that Javelin footage, wasn't it?
Yeah. On the Javelin footage, I was saying...
Yeah.
Like, again, it's...
Like when they're in the mess hall.
Yeah, and they're kind of, like, leaning there, sitting at the table, like, chatting and stuff. And again, it's, pre-alpha, all that stuff. But I'm curious to see how, when it actually comes to... When Star Citizen gets... Like, or when Squadron 42 gets released. I'm curious to see how that all comes together. I'm sure they'll smooth out some of the, like, the rough edges on stuff. Because it was just kind of a test to see how it would all, like... Because it's procedurally generated. And they were even talking about how... Like 10% actions is like coughing, 20% actions is them kind of like cracking their neck somewhat, and like 30% is them checking the Moby glass, and how it's like they're just kind of building a system for random AI. But I don't know.
True to life, like checking your phone all the time, right?
Yeah, exactly. I just checking up the Moby glass.
Always checking your Moby glass.
Yeah. That's what is it?
I was just thinking, like, I like how they do that. It's kind of like like an action, like real true to life, like what you would do, like a percentage to like doing those things, like coughing, like you were just saying, and maybe like scratching their head, like just stuff like that, like I like that idea, as long as, there's going to be a lot more than kind of even the couple they said, but that was like a generalizing, like general kind of overview of what they're planning on doing with like AI action, so they don't look so like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, like they're just standing there like like
standing around staring at you and stuff. You're gonna walk up to this guy. Let's see how this guy operates right now. Kind of takes him a second to greet you. Sometimes they do greet us.
Oh
this guy's not. He's not. He's just standing there staring blankly. Oh, he's looking at me at least.
That might be, his personality, it's a personality.
Yeah, just like looking at you like, what do you want?
Just like, I don't even want to talk to you.
I like when you kind of try and block them, they do try and like go around and stuff. Now he's just like, he just like blinked out of existence because his pathing wasn't correct. Oh yeah, but no, it's I like a lot more of this stuff. I'm walking by a guy right now, and it's the NPCs that like almost like look like players that are standing around. They have like actual gear on and stuff. I can't wait until there's more of them. Because did you see the thing where they're saying like, what was it? 10% player, 90% NPC on servers. Is that the number that I seen?
Yeah, that's what I read too, thrown out there.
Yeah.
That there's going to be a lot of NPC, which is, hey, that's fine.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Let's make things feel.
I want to see more. Yeah. I want to see more like just to use that comparison of like when you're on this like a planet on like No Man's Sky, for instance. They got those like moments where like you're running around on the planet surface, and then you see like fleets just kind of like cruising by like above your head, kind of a deal. Like I want to see more stuff like that, like where the NPCs are in ships flying essentially. Like you'll see them coming into port, you know, landing. The problem with that though too is, man, we talked about this the other day. It's just like we're talking about all this, like we're worried about players like being an influx and stuff. Like how is that going to work when you throw in 90% of NPCs trying to land at a port? You know what I mean? Like that's another one that's kind of like you throw out there, and you're, yeah, I don't know how that's going to work either, if there's going to be that much extra NPC activity.
Yeah, that's why I'm not against them kind of making some places bigger.
Just bigger. Yeah. That's fine, you know?
Yeah, like
I think it's
like, you know,
okay.
Port Olisar. Did you ever like pay attention to how Port Olisar works?
Yeah.
It's
like how it's half of another station or
there's
something like that. Like
2 exact same stations there that are separate. Did you ever notice that? How there's like
I did.
2 sets of 2 pads?
It is, yep. And you have to like EVA to get to the other one. Remember?
But that's the funny though. The other one is just an exact like 1-to-1 replica of the other one.
Yeah.
Where it's like I wish it was almost more. And then you can see that there's like a big building in the middle that's just like an empty, like nothing's actually there. It'd be almost cool if that was just, if they were going to do this, have that as just like almost like just relay out the station differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where, I don't know. And I did you hear the stuff about Port Olisar supposed to be like gone as well? Like they're getting rid of that at some point.
No, I didn't.
I almost want to
Which
fly
sucks
over
because
there
that's
right
kind
now.
of like, because that's kind of like one of those like nostalgic things, because that was like the first port I've ever like kind of messed with or was at, you know, like back when it was like the port to like take off from. And
that's where a lot of the like anti-pad rammer sentiment comes from too, because that was just like the first one, and that was like the only gameplay was just flying your ships into things. Like,
and so speaking on like AI, right, or like the NPCs, I kind of touched on this a little bit. It was just more of like a quick, like, you know, like what I want. But I want, just like they have in the cities, they have those named NPCs. Like each city has like the, you know, that chick's in the back alley. And
Tika Patiko or whatever. Yeah. She's cool.
I just want them to put like notable people at ports, even if their role is just to be a nuisance, like around the port. Like they give store owners like that very perturbed attitude, you know, the ones where you sit there and you go to buy something, they're like, oh, just go away,
like
you know,
the
like
guy
that kind of
Hacks,
stuff.
like, we all remember
Yeah, so it's like I want like real named like NPCs, like someone that like everybody knows, oh, that's old Pappy over at, you know, Olisar. He just always asks you for money, or like, you know, like,
and they should have a couple lines of dialogue too. You can kind of like shoot the shit with them, and it should almost change like every once in a while. Like they, with a new update, they give them an extra couple lines of dialogue or something. Yeah,
like just I want something like that where it really feels like that the port is somewhat alive.
Yeah. Now, 2 things I was just thinking of. One thing, when I walk by here, I don't want to see this, Well, like, not only is there, like, NPCs standing on a bench right now, just kind of, like, looking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Right beside each other, there's two of the exact same NPC. And you might not catch
Yeah.
it, but they're dressed the exact same, too. You know what I mean? So it looks like they're, like,
I think
twin brothers.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just, like, a copy, or if that's supposed to happen, but, like, things like that, of, like, if you're gonna use... I don't know, like, try not to do that, is one thing as well. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's...
I don't have a large database.
I just joined it on your thing. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't even touch upon the, standing up on the, on the chair.
Yeah, that's secondary. I'm just saying, like, the copies
I know.
of the NPCs.
That'll get fleshed out.
Yeah. But the other thing I was thinking about when we were talking about fleets a second ago is, do you remember, like, during IAE, or, like, Invictus Week, how that, like, Bengal fleet would fly around?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I almost wish that was a thing that just always flew around, more or less. And maybe
like
even don't make
patrols.
Yeah, I think the lore is that guarding Stanton, isn't it like a javelin and like a couple Idris, or like there's an actual fleet that is patrolling around Stanton. It'd be cool if that just went on.
Of it.
Yeah, I forget exactly what it is, but it'd be cool if that fleet actually did just roam around in Star Citizen, like PU, all the time, on just like a scheduled patrol, almost like during Invictus Week,
moving.
But not time.
You can see it on the star map, like moving or something.
Yeah, so let's say you're at, Grim Hex or SPK or one of those locations, and you just see like it jump in and then like kind of patrol around and then like jump out. So if like you and the boys just theoretically wanted to mess around, it would you could go and fight with them.
Your insurance claim has
theoretically,
been
or just like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like that's like you're saying about like fleets just flying around. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right, let me grab something and fly over there. What do I want to take? Something quick. Where's my saber? Take the saber over.
Vehicle selected.
Would you bring the marshmallow suit?
Yeah, I'm in the marshmallow suit. All I'm doing is
vehicle has
announcing
been
over
delivered
to Port Olisar so I can look at it again. Because if I remember correctly, I almost think Port Olisar is 4 stations in one. I'm thinking it's 2, but I don't know why I'm thinking it's almost like 4 stations, 4 separate stations.
I think it's just the 2. Like you were saying. And you know what's weird about that station? There literally is a connecting like tunnel, and then when you try to go to the tunnel, it's blocked off.
That's what I wanted to go look at, because like I did notice that in almost all these stations there is room for expansion where they could always add on to them.
Yeah.
Which I think would be cool if they did.
You only have one ship here at Grim Hex. That's fucking cool.
Yeah. I don't know. Like
Can
Snots.
you take more than one load at a time?
What are you talking about?
Like, can I take more than one work order at a time?
Yeah. Yeah, you just have to have a ship that fits it.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Now.
Yeah, that would suck, man. Be like one load, take it down. That would really suck.
Now, Snots, just out of your thoughts, like not even stuff that's kind of like scheduled or whatever. Like, what are some things that you'd like to see in the game? Like, just curious what your perspective is.
More PvP, like events.
Yeah.
More dynamic events.
Like forced.
I really like the idea of having to invade a cave. Like, I was thinking of something we could do for org versus org battle, where we make a big, huge green SC3 box or whatever, and then just put it down there, and another org has to fight their way through the cave while we defend it, or we have to fight our way and defend it.
I like that idea for something like Ghost Hollow too.
Events.
Yeah.
Anything, even space events.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I'm a fan of... I think I brought this up a couple times, but I would like to see... like, let's say Thursday is Ninetales Blockade. Friday's Xeno Threat. Saturday's Jumptown. Sunday's Siege of Orison. type thing, almost.
Yeah.
And if anything, do that every other
Rotating
weekend
schedule
or something like that. So there's always
Yeah.
something kind of going on.
Yeah, I like that too.
Okay, I'm coming down here now, and I think it is exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. So Port Olisar is 4 carbon copies of the exact
4?
same building. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just all put
There's
together.
strut A. There's strut B.
Oh, just all slid like next to each other, like 1, 2. Yeah, I guess that would make
Then there's
sense.
strut C
Seems like
and D. Yeah.
There, it used to not be like that, though, if I remember right. I think that's what they did to it to expand, like, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Like, to make it larger.
Because if you look inside, there's Casaba, Dumpers Depot, and then there's the weapon store and the armor store, and that's on strut D. And I go over to strut C,
Warning. You are blocking
and
an active flight
it's
bay.
the same
Please vacate
thing.
the vicinity.
Correct? Yeah, there's Dumpers Depot,
Yeah.
or there's the weapon armor store, and then Casaba and Dumpers Depot. So yeah, it's 4. That's what I thought I was correct. There's 4 of the exact same building there. You know what I mean? Where I would love to
Yeah.
see it if it was almost designed. And like you said, I think they did that for expansion reasons.
Yeah.
And then in between strut,
But
like
you
A
notice
and
how there's
B,
no-
there's a
you
massive
notice that there's-
superstructure that's unused.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, there's something where, like, they connect the tunnels, but you can't, like, actually go through. It's in the outer part, like, where you'd be out when you go to a hangar where it takes you out to the, you know, the pressure or the depressurizing stuff. There's a hallway that takes you to that thing, because I EVA'd around and I'm like, why don't they have this open so you can run literally between the struts, like the different platforms?
Yeah.
And it won't let you do it. It's just, like, kind of weird.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Like, I was just checking that out, like, the other day. It was probably like a few days ago.
Yeah, no, I
Crazy.
don't exactly know what my point would be there, but almost if they needed more space, so let's say they had 90% of PCs and a bunch more players and server mesh and stuff, it'd be
Yeah.
And I'm somewhat under the impression that they were going to get rid of Olisar. I don't know why. I think it's going to be something that's almost like an in-game event of where it gets blown up. I feel like they're probably
That'd be kinda
connected to
neat.
like Nine Tails or something, destroys it. I think is
Yeah.
what they're thinking, but again, I'm not exactly sure on that. But I thought I remember hearing something somewhere about that. If anyone listening here remembers what that is, feel free.
I
to
mean, I
tell
could
me.
see them like doing something like that, like some kind of lore-related reason to get rid of it, or you know,
Yeah. But yeah, it'd be
Turn it
cool
into
if
like
they
a
just
derelict
made
site.
them like a bigger space station that was able to. Now, did you ever look around inside the refineries or things like that?
I have. I've wandered around as much as I can.
oh,
in
like
them.
yeah,
What's up, Julius? How you doing? Good to see you.
the Arcs and like Crew L1, like those places you're saying?
Yeah, like inside where it's like the foundry, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, where
usually
you
you
see
just
the
walk
stuff,
straight down the middle, but you can walk to the right or
Uh-huh.
the left and like look around, and there's nothing
Yeah.
actually there. But
Yeah.
this was something I brought up the other day. Is this would come into probably more finalizing of the game, I would imagine. But I was bringing up how it would be so cool if there was almost per station missions or mini games or missions contracts where you could almost these would go in with remember they were talking about maintenance contracts for almost like cleaning up stuff around
Yeah.
as well. You should be able to like get a job working in the factory and almost have it where it's almost mini games where you have to go around and keep the foundry running, and there's a bunch of terminals there. So like if you got paid for actually like doing refinery work almost.
Yeah.
That'd be alright too. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd just be like
It'd
That-
have to be enticing, like to where, just imagine this scenario. You're at Arc L1 or something, and like there's a reactor issue or something, like literally goes down, and it halts production in a sense of like you can't even, like, when you take your refinery like stuff to the place, you actually have to do whatever it takes to get that refinery back up and running again. You know what I mean? Like that would be kind of like fun, where it's like server, like where everybody's helping to. And I go back to, I always say stuff about WoW, but like back when they used to do those like combined efforts. Remember the remember the combined efforts? Effort. Yeah, like for like gong, ringing the gong and stuff. It's it would be cool if there was just like little things like that where it all kind of like it all mattered, you know, like if you're gonna go as far as they're going, they need to just like might as well just do stuff like that. But then you start thinking, well, how long is that gonna take for them to, you know, like what? Yeah. How long would they take spending time on that? So it's like
exactly. That's why I wouldn't want to see it be anything too crazy, because there's already kind of, if you walk through there, did you ever notice that there's like LCD screens with almost like things on them? And whatever. I almost would like it to be almost like maintenance contracts, like you're in jail. You know what I mean? Where it's like you'd see them pop up. You're at like Arkel 1, you're kind of just chilling there, and you wanted to do something. Let's say these are kind of like low-paying jobs, but these are something that would be great at like getting kind of new players some cash in the safety of the station without needing to call in a ship. You know what I mean? Where it's kind of a little bit of like easy mode gameplay, but at the same time there should be like a little bit of a skill ceiling to it. Of where I was more just thinking, you go over to the computer and it's almost like a little mini, almost like pipes mini game where you have to like connect the stuff or do some little junk on the computer.
You could even think of it this way. You could do it on the computer, but you could also do it like for instance, what's the game that's the pirate game?
Sea of Thieves?
I can't think of it. Sea of Thieves. So like, you know, when your ship takes damage, you run down there and you take water buckets out and you dump. Like you could put mini game stuff like that where it's like you're an engineer and you have to go around and like you actually have to like clear something up because it's halting progress at that station. And there should be so let's say something happens, right? Something breaks. And you should get a contract that pops up, like if you're tied to that like job description. It doesn't have to go for everybody. It's only people that like essentially clock in. You could do like a clock in like thing where even if you're across the place, you could see that there's a maintenance contract that like, hey, Arc L1 refinery, whatever this and that is down right now. It pays you out $300K or something by going there to fix it for them, and it's like it would get the community behind it too, where it's like, hey, I can't drop my stuff off, like can we get someone up here to like fix this up here? Like I just think stuff like that would be like cool, where it affects everybody that goes to that station.
I think somewhat building on what you're saying there is like, I almost think it should have a rep too, somewhat. Like where it's people like contractors rep. And as you kind of get up, it starts out, let's say it starts out as like $25,000 contracts or something, or $10,000 contracts,
all the way up to engineer.
You got janitor like all the way up, you know.
That's how you should almost like start on it. It's like cleaning up the garbages and stuff is how it starts. But by the end of it, it's almost like you keep getting promotions or some shit. And then by the end of it, you're in the refinery
too. Like you could do something like that in the hospital.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Exactly. It starts out like the same thing with like the medical rep. Is it should start out where you're just like in the hospital, like passing them stuff. You're going around cleaning up medical gowns. And then eventually you're being sent on kind of medevac calls to different places to go and like revive people or collect their
running samples or something too.
Like, and feed this into how regen works, of where it's like, oh, we had somebody die, we need you to go out there and collect their like data core.
Go get us a DNA. Here's a med gun that collects DNA samples.
And then have that work all the way up to where you end up getting like $90,000-$100,000 medical rescue beacon missions, where it's like you're doing that stuff where you have to go out to like one of those colonial outposts or something like that and provide medical care or drop off medical crates
for NPCs too.
Yeah, not just players. Like, kind of almost put in a medical gameplay loop for NPCs and players.
Yeah, it's like, so here's the devil's advocate to that, right? And
Yeah,
that's what I'm looking for, right? So like what you were just saying, that is awesome. Like in like the stuff we were just talking about, like I was saying about the refinery, like kind of like putting out those. What has to happen is the balance, though. Like, you know, Chris Roberts, those people, they want you to play their game too, right? So
Yeah.
like they want you to like go explore, they want you to go to other planets, they want you to also do this. Yeah, I guess it could be your choice to do that. Would be like, okay, but how long would you want to spend doing that? Like when you like let's just like play it out. Like you get on the game, you go to your person, you clock in, not clock in, but like you log into the server, right? So you're logged in, like, is there always going to be someone that needs to be like staffed at all these that's what I'm kind of getting at too. Like, where would the logistics also come into play? Where do you need people staffed? Is it crucial, vital, or is it something you can just, do we decide it's just going to be, this is for you and your gameplay loop that you want to play because you like doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of want to say that it might want to be geared towards just what people want to do, as opposed to what, like, don't have it affect like how
In-game
I was just
services
talking
or
about the
anything.
like the
Yeah.
refinery, like where it's like you're forced, because then it's like, what if no one's like on that's an, I mean, I guess that kind of like would make sense that if no one's on that would do that, like, or they're not nearby, or you know what I mean? Like, I would almost think that, yeah, it might be just be better for like, hey, it may have some effect on services and whatnot, but nothing like critical or great
No.
game breaking, but at least it's something you can do, like want to do.
Remember you brought up being air traffic control?
Yeah, dude,
And-
I always think about
And
that
we were
one.
talking about how if that was like a little mini game of where
Yeah.
you're sitting up there in the tower, and when people call in and call for a hangar bay, you have to give them like the right hangar bay, blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah. But remember how we were saying is like, if you don't respond after 10-15 seconds, the NPCs take over and just do it for you. It would almost be like if you come into a refinery and the refinery's down and no one accepts that mission or goes to fix it, or if like, let's say these contracts go out, if somebody accepts them and doesn't do them within a minute or two, like, NPC technicians should just come over and it be fixed somewhat.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Dude,
you're just almost like part of the work
I-
crew.
I gotta tell you more about this ATC thing.
Yeah.
So like that also is in other games too, like where people actually like those flight sims and stuff, where they actually have good, funny like interactions. Like you can watch like YouTube has these like, you know, like the best of like ATC, you know,
I've watched
for those
them
other games.
before
Yeah,
for flight
they are
sims.
so good. So imagine this. Imagine the same idea. You take post as an ATC person. You get like a radar, kind of like a thing that you can look at. You see people coming in, coming out. I don't know if I should be the one. I don't think that should be the case, but I think the person that's hailing will hail to you. You will accept it. You'll say, "Hey, what's up? Blah blah blah. You know, freelancer, whatever. I'm gonna put you over in this. Blah. You know, you can just talk to them, literally, like on like hailing would be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, just like you would hail like the ATC in that one stupid thing that says, "Have a pleasant day." You know, like.
Yeah.
That would be cool. And then if no one's doing it, maybe it just the AI takes over and then it goes back to that. But how cool would that be to where like if someone wants to do that and is gonna like spend about an hour doing it and like putting people right, like let's say someone comes in and you can see like where all the like places to land are open at, you could like put them like, hey, I'm gonna put you right here, it's like right next to where you're at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like someone coming in with a quant load, you can be like I could say, yeah, I have a quant load, full load. If you could put me somewhere close, like you have the choice to be like, boom, here you go, right there. You know, like I just thought that would be kind of fun just to like do for a little bit, like a mini game, sort of like you just said, for like other stuff. I don't know.
That's
That would be
why-
like
It's not a
another
bad
thing
idea
that
at
you don't
all.
pass that past. You don't put that past Chris Roberts, because he'll probably like snatch that up. He'll be like, oh yeah, I like that.
That's $1 million idea.
That's why I almost like, this kind of gets into how me and Sleazy were talking about this at one point of how is Star Citizen going to fund itself after release? And I was somewhat advocating like, I think they're probably going to go subscription. And then he
I
was
hope
saying,
so.
no, I couldn't see
don't-
that. And then I was saying like, I don't think it's just going to be a straight subscription. What I was thinking is, you're probably going to get, and this is how
Like
I think
insurance?
they could play it exactly. But I think this is how they
Yeah.
would play it off, so that like backers don't and non-backers like actually have to pay to play the game. Somewhat, it's like I was thinking that they would sell insurance for like real life money. Now it's gonna take me a bit to lay this out, but this is how. Because
Yeah.
the question is, how are they going to pay for this when it comes out? They're not going to sell like they're not selling like a box game. Like remember World of Warcraft, you would have to buy the expansion. Then you would also
buy
have
the
to
expansion.
pay the subscription fee.
The
And then
subscription fee,
eventually cosmetics and services came into the game as well.
that came into the play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm
later.
saying is, they're not selling you in Star Citizen a box price of a game. And I can't see them charging a subscription, because people like who backed it in like 2013 paid in like a fortune. They're not going to want to now be like, well, you can't access any of that stuff unless you pay us $15 a month or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I think is like, you know, all these backers who are buying ships and they have like 5-year, 10-year lifetime warranty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And how the earlier of a subscriber or the earlier of a backer you were, the more likely you are to have lifetime insurance. And now it's starting to be 10 years the best, and then 2-year, and then like 6 months and stuff. As it fades out, I don't think they should do. If they're going to do what I'm saying, is 2 years should almost be like the lowest end. And on events have like 10-year stuff, and LTI is just like kind of hard to get these days. But
Yeah.
the way I'm thinking is, when the game comes out, let's say if you have a ship in game that you buy it for, let's say 800k or whatever, it's an arrow. If you don't pay for insurance on that arrow, if you go and crash it and blow it up, there should be almost like a deductible on that ship of like a couple hundred in-game thousand or something like that, if you didn't have insurance on it, where it's like technically the wreckage is still there. So like, it's like if you buy a crashed car or something and then repair it, it's not the same price. But like, let's say that's kind of how they have it. And then theoretically, if you're in-game and you have a bunch of in-game currency, you could go and buy insurance on that ship with in-game currency. You know what I mean? But it would almost be like 1 year insurance is like 1,000,000 credits or something. Or like, not 1,000,000 credits, but like almost more than that. You know, like, I don't exactly know how the money will be done in the game, but let's just say you can buy insurance in the game with in-game currency, but it's a lot to where it's like, what the fuck? Or what you can do is, and for all the like backers and people who bought it right now, if you have LTI, you just have lifetime insurance, so you don't have to pay for insurance on that stuff. But if you're a new player who gets in and you start playing the game with, let's say, it's a whatever ship, like an arrow or whatever, they would sell stuff in technically like the Star Citizen store, where it's like you can buy insurance for vehicles, of where technically it's, let's say it's like one insurance on a vehicle is like $5 a month. So then it's de facto a subscription where if you play month to month to month and you fly one ship and you have insurance on it, you're paying $5 a month to play Star Citizen. But where they would make a lot of the money is the people who have like multiple ships. You know what I mean? And then they would sell like a 5-pack of insurance or something like that for like $20 or some shit. So people, on average, people probably fly about 10 ships. Or I mean 5 ships. So on average, you'd probably have people paying like $20 a month to play. But here's how it would act as a subscription. If you're not playing Star Citizen, you don't pay for the insurance for your ships, because technically they'd be sitting in a hangar. You know what I mean? Now, also, this is what I'm saying, like, let's say you're a backer and you had like a year insurance or something like that, and then let's say your insurance lapses and you don't notice, you don't crash your ship. This is where, like, remember we were talking about GMs and stuff? This is where you contact a GM and they'd be like, okay, we'll reinstate your ship, but you have to get insurance for it. Because next time it'll be, you have to pay the, like 3/4 of the cost of the ship deductible to get your ship back. So it's not like if you bought a ship real money and then go and crash it, it's like gone like Eve. It's just there's like an in-game currency.
Yeah, I don't think that should happen
pay.
ever. Like, I think if you bought a ship with real money, you should never just like even have a chance to permanently lose it.
There should be no permanently
that
losing it.
penalty-
Yeah.
I think it should, instead of claiming and it takes 6 minutes, I think it should take like 6 fucking hours.
Well,
Yeah, like if you don't have
Ridiculous, where we
insurance
to
on it,
repair- We
yeah.
have to go and get your ship and repair it. It's going to be, 3 hours for your roar to be fixed.
Well,
Yeah,
here's
something
what
like
I was
that.
somewhat thinking about, because what I'm describing is after the game is out, this is if they, because I've heard this before, is that when the game comes out, they're not going to be selling ships anymore. Now, I heard that they'll be selling like concept ships, so that you can sell like back kind of concept ships and
Yeah.
stuff.
So like the
But they
early
won't be
on stuff,
selling like
the
Gladius.
Auroras.
Buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, I'm skeptical hippo-wise, you know what I mean?
yeah.
But
Yeah.
that being said, here's how I'm seeing the game as being more like, like GTA Online. How when you start, you have like nothing. You have like 10K,
Yeah.
and then you have to go and like do missions and like work your way up. Now they sell those like shark cards and stuff, so they sell in-game currency. I could also see that being a thing in Star Citizen, of where they sell in-game currency. But the balance here is you can't price things absurdly high in the game, of where the only thing that makes sense is buying the in-game currency, because grinding makes no sense. Because I found that's why I stopped playing GTA, because it took the fun out of the game. Because
once you start getting all the money, you have no reason to fucking play.
it's not even that. You would be like, okay, I want to do stuff in the game to earn money, and you would go and start doing the gameplay options, but they would make those gameplay options so grindy. Like, let's say a car was $1 million. Well, it would take you like a couple days of grinding hard to make $1 million, so that it's almost like, okay, what am I gonna do? Spend 20 hours just grinding out missions and stuff to earn this car, or just go to work for an hour and then pay them $20 and then get the car? You know what I mean? If that starts
I used to do
factoring
that,
in,
and wow.
yeah, exactly. If that starts factoring in, the game design is like too grindy. But this is what I'm trying to get at. This would lead you into, when you start Star Citizen, let's say you start in, it'd be technically free to play, is technically. So any person can turn on Star Citizen, and let's say they spawn in Hurston, but they have absolutely no money in game. So you're not required to buy a ship, you're not required to do anything. But you could go start around in Hurston, and you could literally start doing like missions around the city, making a few thousand AUEC, and then like go and like rent a ship, and then go out and like start doing some stuff. But then after you would start playing the game for a bit, if you bought a ship, that's when they would be like, we recommend you get insurance for your ship. And then that's like $5 a month. Now, we'll take it. What's up, Educated Grunt? How are you doing? We're just talking about random Star Citizen thoughts and ideas here. But
This is Sunday night Star Citizen banter.
yeah, exactly. Now, like, when I was bringing this up to Sleazy, he was like, no way anyone would do this. And I was just thinking, like, well, how do you think
he
they're
don't
going
know.
to pay
He don't
for
know
it?
he don't know the grip that Mr. Chris Roberts has on people's wallets there.
It's not even that. I'm just saying, like, World of Warcraft. We all see how that's funded. It's, you buy the game, you pay a subscription. They also charge you fees for doing a bunch of shit in game. They also have cosmetics out the ass. And then they
They
also
have
started
services.
selling in-game currency. So they made it where to buy anything in the game, you're like, what am I going to go out and grind making money for weeks to buy something? Or just go and swipe the credit card and then just go and buy it. You know what I mean? So they like are quadruple dipping technically.
So just to kind of piggyback off of what you're starting to talk about, I think that they're already set up in a huge way for cosmetics. For one, that's one source of income. I think they absolutely have a game that can it'll work for, absolutely 100% work for, to like make money. Yes, you're right. Like stuff like not microtransactions, but like stuff with like insurance kind of like makes sense to me, like how they would do some of that stuff, especially it being like these are like huge ships and they're pretty important. So how are you going to fund like keeping them like, safe? So that would make sense to me that you could like, you could use LTI or like not LTI, but like in insurance policies as like that's like your subscription, like you said.
Yeah, it's a
You
de
could sign up
facto
for, I hate to say,
subscription.
yeah, it's like you'd have to sign up for a policy. Like I have 5 ships. I'm gonna like throw my ships on insurance, and it's gonna be like it doesn't have to be a ridiculous amount of like money per month, but I mean they already do. People like you and I were already signed up for like here and there for like their subscription that they have now. And what do we
Which
get?
is
We
like
don't really like
10 or
it's just
20 a month.
Like, yeah, it's just like,
Yeah.
hey, here's a little like a ship that's not worth anything, or here's a ground vehicle sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Where it's
I don't
technically
know.
like what my thing I'm saying right now, if you played for like the $20 a month subscription, that would give you insurance on 4 vehicles. Let's just say like
Yeah.
in the future. You know what I mean? But that's a
Mhm.
kind of a side thing. Is the way that I'm saying this is don't sell microtransaction cosmetics. Have almost all cosmetics in the game available to earn through in-game currency. So you would
Yeah.
like that's where the only thing becomes is like paying for ship insurance, aka the subscription, and then
Oh,
also
and I don't
the
even mean
pledging
like
of like new ship designs as well.
Yeah. No, what I'm thinking is like, so here's my breakdown. Like here, I've thought about this a little bit. Is like, you keep like armor and stuff like that. Yeah, if they still want to do some things that are special in the store, like here and there, whatever. But what I'm wanting them to go with is like, I want there to be like an a Xeno threat type thing where it's sort of like a very difficult group oriented thing you have to do, and in order to like do it, you have to have all these types of vehicles. You have to have like all these people to help with. You breach, you go in, you kill a guy, he drops a crate that drops tons of stuff that you can't get. Yada yada, almost exactly like you're gonna play like another kind of an MMO. At least that's how you can attain like really really rare stuff like gear. Like I'd love that side of it to happen, where you do things that are super difficult that require coordination that you get rewarded for it. But then on the other hand, like you're saying, keep the stuff in game like earnable, like through like missions and stuff that you have to do a specific like mission quest line, whatever, to get to the end reward, stuff like that. I mean, they shouldn't change the model too much. I don't think they should change how you go about like with the MMO style. Like if they're going to call this a space MMO, I think they should keep that stuff like sort of the same in terms of like how you earn things and get things that are rare, or you know what I mean, like
somewhat with like how in Siege of Orson, if you killed the bosses, they had some gear on them that you could loot and get. Now, I don't want to see it go too much in the way of like World of Warcraft, where you kill the boss, you get the loot, and it has like random rolling items in it. I like the idea of having it more like GTA, of where you know how if you go to like the clothes store in GTA, they just have hundreds of things you can buy. So like have AUEC be like the main. Everything evolves around AUEC. So if they balance the way that you earn AUEC in the game to where, like, if you have the best ships that you're probably paying your like subscriptions on, like you just earn stacks of AUEC. You know what I mean? So that you can kind of like buy all the stuff in the game. So it just like that's what I'm trying to say is like I could see them selling AUEC is one of their major ways to make the money. Just like pretty much like a GTA Online model is pretty much how I could see them doing this, except for it's like GTA Online where they're selling the in-game currency, but don't make it where it's like a bunch of like GTA Online is like every couple months they release a new bunker, and it's like this is 20 million to buy this new thing. So de facto, like pretty much automatically they're getting people to go and buy their like 2 $10 million cards or whatever technically, which is like $90 or some shit. Where it's like I don't know. I think I'd almost have to have like a flow chart out here to describe.
I was gonna say it's a lot of like. It's a lot to digest.
It's not even like
because it's
complicated in my head. It's very straightforward where they just make content for the game and they make it all earnable in game to kind of like doing mission
Well, let me
content or
ask you
grinding
this.
money. It's just with one other
Yeah.
thing on top of it is that you can buy insurance for your ships.
Okay, let me ask you this. What is your end game for Star Citizen? That's a good question to ask anybody. Like, what is your... I've gotten the ships that I want to get. I don't care about anything else. Like,
Yeah.
now I'm going to play end game. What do you consider end game for you in Star Citizen?
I think of Endgame almost like, this is why I say I want there to be like space casinos and shit. Because I want Endgame in the game to just almost be like Endgame in life. Of where it's like,
Yeah.
after you have a bunch of money, like, what do you start doing? You start kind of balling
Yeah.
hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just going around blowing money. And buying like nicer shit and better stuff and cooler shit and more stuff.
Yeah.
And going out
Make
adventuring on like
rares.
trips. What is it?
Make rare items, rare quantum jets or quantum drives you can't get anywhere. Rare weapons that cost crazy amounts.
Well, like, that's kind of where I'm going with, like, have it where there's nicer and nicer apartments, or nicer and nicer corporate headquarters, or, like, more and bigger ballin' ships, or, like, you can buy land claims. You can, like, have everything based off AUEC. So, like, things start costing. Like, it becomes a team effort, and a lot of shit would be based around org play, because it'd be almost unconceivable to buy all this stuff yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it would be like, well, there's no way on Earth I'm going to sink 10 million AUEC, or not even 10 million, but like 100 million AUEC into like a base complex by myself. But where if you play with like an org, like, of course we're going to spend the extra 5 million to get the bigger med bay hab. You know what I mean? And just,
Yeah.
I want it to be like an AUEC sync is the end game. Of whereas there's some shit where it like, it just takes a long time to earn the money for. Like, more things to, I don't want, because right now, what is the only thing you can spend money on in game? It's ships. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So after you have all
for
the
like
ships,
your money sink.
why do you keep earning money? What's the point? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, it is. It's pretty much like, that's what I feel like right now. It's like, I don't.
Well, like,
really
what else
wanna
do you
do
want?
anything.
You know what I mean? That's why I think
Yeah.
there has to be almost like, start using things like ArcCorp and New Babbage for like apartments and
Yeah.
balling like penthouses and stuff. Of
Hangars.
Yeah, like stuff for your hangars. Just like little knickknacks constantly. And they do have some of that stuff in the store. And it used to be when it was like the hangar decorator and ship observer, you could do that stuff.
Yeah, you could actually look at it.
And they have
Whatever
that.
happened to the hangar?
Well, they have it set up in the game. Do you ever notice this? When you buy a ship, it comes with a hangar.
Yeah, you get a hangar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like when that's more implemented, like
Well,
some people are going to have
the hangar thing though.
Yeah, I'm thinking from my perspective is this is why me and you were talking about Mesa is having some space stations and places expanded. And I don't know if you've seen that on, I think it was maybe the last Board Gamers video. He talked about that they were going to do a rework on Loreville and probably
it's already
expand
in
it
the process.
and make it larger and all this stuff.
They're going to talk about it at like CitizenCon here in like the next month.
Coming up here pretty soon, that change of Loreville.
Well, that's what I'm thinking about is like if they had like Spaceport 1, 2, 3, or let's say, so that it ends up being where like every person on that server, they own a hangar somewhere. And then there's always like on the space stations, let's say some people own a hangar on the space station. There's always other hangars that are like come and go hangars. But like some people, like let's say some people own a hangar in almost every space station. And in each one of those hangars, like let's say your main hangar, some people might be like, oh yeah, I've spent like 50 million on my main hangar. Where it's like, you have to, like, you can keep pimping that shit out.
Yeah.
Like, whereas like
racks that hold ships. And,
yeah, exactly.
Different components.
Exactly. Like you could have crazy ball and shit.
Pay for like fuel, like a fuel module, and so you could fuel in your own hangar instead of out on the like normal pads.
Like, I don't
Something weird.
know. Like, you know what I'm saying? No, that's what I'm thinking. The
Yeah.
end game is just like acquiring stuff.
And I think that's where like I wouldn't say differ, but I go the route of I want them to, I wouldn't say cater, but I want them to, I would say, okay, let me say cater. I want them to cater to two crowds. I want them to give the PvE guys the PvE stuff.
Yep.
Because that has to happen. There's got to be PvE content, which they will have, which they've been doing. Like literally, they're doing that right now with Jumptown and that other
Or
one.
not,
Siege
or
Orison. So
like
that's
Siege
like
of Orison and like
that's like the
not
two,
Xeno
like
Threat,
it's,
but, like,
yeah.
Nine Tails Blockade.
Yeah, so it's like I want them to make it so like, okay, if I want to do a coordinated ground thing, I want there to be like a red team, blue team like thing where it's like you're on a planet where they literally make a battlefield already set up to where it's not instanced at all. You literally have areas where you can spawn things in on the planet that have like a battlefield that kind of like has the clashing point in the middle, so that you can just go there and be like, hey, we're coordinating with this thing. We're going to do like a battle, and we're going to be down on blah, blah, blah planet. And it's made literally for like a battlefield. Like that's just this huge, massive thing. You can spawn things on one side, spawn things on the other side. Like the stuff like that, I want them to throw in the game. And the reason why I say that is I want it to be more simplified and more accessible to people, so they're not spending 3 hours trying to coordinate something.
Yeah.
They're like, they can go down, boom, there's our PvP. That's super awesome. Make multiple, obviously, locations on different planets, maybe like, hey, we're gonna go do this over on Magda now, and it's it's over at this location. But it's like literally like you can do everything on the planet. You don't have to like fly in if you don't want to. Like you can, I don't know. That's the PvP side.
How about you think of this? Is if you know how there's in lore, there's a couple planets where the UEE does training.
Yeah.
If you go to that planet, you should be able to go down to where they're doing their training, and they should have something like that cool. set up where it's like you almost like rent their training ground for like org versus org training technically, but it's just like battlefield, setting up battlefield scenarios and stuff. But here's where I think the PvE side of it should come in. Is contracts should go out, and it should just be like, we have a, like, somewhat like what Xenothreat technically is, but like a word goes out, and it's like we have Vandul have just come into like Nyx or whatever, and we need help. The UEE needs help. Calling all like UEE and civilian defense force. So the PvE people end up, it's like an SOS. So you get that call, and a mission comes up where it's like, get to this planet, there's a battle going on. And you show up, and if you participate in this large-scale battle and win, not only is it kind of dynamic, where it's like technical, like you push the Vandul out, but if you fail, it's like the Vandul now kind of are here now and fucking around. And they already mentioned some stuff like that, but that's where the PvE would come in, of where like you and your org have to all like get your ships together, get all your tanks and your gear and everything, and roll out there and actually like participate
large scale invasions. It's like an invasions.
And
it's like you have to push them back.
You get like AUEC, maybe some like war medal, maybe like a title, maybe like some cool paint jobs or something that are like operation based for some ships or something like that. So it's like, I was there for the 2953 fucking Xiong invasion of this place or whatever the fuck. And people are like, oh, you got to participate in that? Be like, yeah, I was there. I participated in that shit. Like, so like that's where I could see it being a bit like PvE, almost like a World of Warcraft type stuff, but not be just like instanced content of where it's like you're rerunning the same thing 100 times over. Have it like
dynamic and like totally random, but not random to where it doesn't have purpose. But like the Quanta system would like obviously fix that, like in terms of like why they're going there or something to draw them there. You know?
For more like regular scheduled content, you could have it like the jump gate that connects to like Vandul territory. Have it where it's like every hour on the hour, or every like other hour, or whatever it is, once a week, or I don't even know what. have it where Van Duel flood through that gate and start like
Oh, that'd be
fighting
sick
with the
too.
UEE. So almost like every hour, people are just there in that system, being like, "Yeah, 20 minutes until the Van Duel start like pouring through the gate." So that just is
Yeah.
like regular content of where it's not like you're running instant stuff, but it's almost
Yeah.
like a Xeno threat type thing of where it triggers and then it's going on.
I
and
like
if you
that.
get
I want
there,
them to not.
you can earn
I don't
credits
want them
for
to do
PvE.
instanced. You know, I
Yeah.
don't want them to do instant stuff at all.
Yeah, I want it to seem
I really
dynamic.
do want that open
like,
world,
yeah.
you know, open universe stuff. Yeah.
So then it feels like you're participating with, like, within the universe, actively like helping keep the Van Duel back. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
almost like once a month have it where it's like a huge, like, have it where it's once a month or once every couple months is like back what I just said before that, where like, let's say a ton of them push in and they actually start taking a planet or something like that, where it's like,
you gotta
Yeah.
so many
work
pour in
together
that they
to clear
kill
them out.
the average amount of players that are there defending, because like, let's say king ships should come in and stuff and like
Well, you know,
start taking
you know
a
what they
planet,
could do?
and that triggers like a battle scenario of where it's like,
No, I agree.
yeah,
Dude, you know what they could do?
Hmm.
They could do something where, like, depending on the race, or like probably the Van Duel would be like the best example.
they work good as
They
baddies.
could do it to where, yeah, they could do it to where they try to like harvest. So like the thing could be that like they bring those like things that mine on the planet's surface that just like destroys the tops. Like you have to literally
Yeah.
go around and destroy these like planet-sized Orion-looking things that are like parked above it.
Just
that they
eating
have
the
their
planet,
own defenses. Yeah, like you have to stop that threat. You know, like in that sense, like that would something
And
like that would be like so cool.
if you were going to do anything that was like almost like the Encourage war effort level stuff, it'd be things like that, of where if enough people don't go in and stop it and help push back the invasion, it ends up being written
Yeah.
into lore of where like the Van Duel have destroyed that planet and have started taking over that system. You know what I mean? Where it's like,
Yeah.
you could actually see
Which would be
like,
tough to do, but that'd be cool.
it'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Where you could almost see like a lot of the lore gets written after the player behavior kind of happens. Where if
Mhm.
like, if a lot of players show up and like stop it and push the Van Duel back, it's written as in like humans prevailed. And then like once in a while
heroic
have it where
last stand type thing,
was it?
like a heroic, last stand type thing.
Yeah, like where it's like if you guys push them back, it's like the lore's written where the UEE won that from the help of the Civilian Defense Force. But if not enough people like participate in the war effort and you lose that, then it ends up being written where it's like the Van Duel took that planet. And then let's say the way that they do it sometimes is if like you push the Van Duel back like a couple times and win, they come up with like a dynamic event where you go into the Van Duel system and have an active like offensive against them, to where you're like invading a Van Duel planet every once in a while. And if that war
Well,
effort's successful,
Yeah.
it's like the humans have moved into that Van Duel system and are like offensively fighting. You know what I mean?
Well,
and have
think
this
of
happen in like a
think of
couple
effects.
systems that just end up being like a fucking mess of a system because it's just constant fighting it, like a PvP system or PvE PvP system type thing or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm kind of getting at?
Yeah.
It'd be like dynamic in-universe events.
Well, not only just dynamic, make it go as far as, because they're pushing this whole quanta stuff, make it go as far as if you don't take care of this threat, your supply lines are cut off. Certain things that you'd be like expecting to be getting at certain places can't happen anymore because of like that threat is cutting off those NPCs from traveling essentially, or whoever, you know what I mean? Like make it have repercussions for not taking care of it instead of just going, we don't really care. Like actually make it so you need to care. You know what I mean?
Here's where I think it's the easiest way to do it. Is if you make the game revolve around where AUEC is everything, if you have it where, okay, the Van Duel is fucking around in this region, the price of Quantanium, the price of raw materials, the price of all this shit is skyrocketing in that sector because the war effort, you would see traders and everyone being like, no, I'm not selling it here. I'm going to sell it out there because I get such a like premium. So then that brings in more of like that's where the pirates start wanting to hang out to jack these player shipments. And then you also see it like
cause and effect, man.
When players go out there, they're hiring security because you might get quantum interdicted by like a Vanduul fucking fleet. You know what I mean? Because you're out there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where.
This is such a pain in the ass.
What is up, Tabs?
I've been stuck in prison, and every time I log in, I wake up dead in my bed.
Oh, and your
and then
thing
it just black
resets?
screens.
Did you go to like an EU server?
Nah.
Okay, log out, go to an EU server, and then you'll wake up. You'll black screen, but then you'll come alive, and then you can log out, come back, and then you'll be alive. And
Well, I've server hopped a few times, and actually this time I just woke up and I'm alive.
Okay, yeah. I had the times I had to do it. I had to go to EU server. Yeah, I don't know if you caught any of that, but we were just having random discussion about Star Citizen.
Yeah, I caught a bit of that.
Ideas and stuff.
And I completely agree with that. I think that's a great idea to handle the Qantas system.
I'm
Star
in.
Citizen discussion. Yeah.
What was that?
It's like the Qantas system is such a big part of this game now. Like, in the future, it's basically going to run the game.
Yeah. What were you saying though, Faye? I thought I heard you say something. Or maybe not.
Oh, I was just joking. Nerds discussing Star Citizen. I will join you because I am a fellow nerd.
in.
Yeah. Well, that's why I randomly got home from the movies this evening. I wasn't really planning on playing anything, so I turned the stream on. And I was just labeled as like random Star Citizen discussion. I was more thinking of talking about not like lore, but we're going to be talking about kind of like what me and you and Mesa were talking about the other night, Tabs, just like random what you want to see. Yeah,
just random Star Citizen things.
Yeah, or like random things about persistent entity streaming, or even like sitcon or whatever the hell it was. But we ended up just talking about random other stuff, and like what we were talking about before there was like, how do you? I'm curious your take on this, Tabs. How do you think they're gonna fund Star Citizen once it's like out of alpha type thing, and like it's an actual game? Do you see subscription model?
I 100% do.
Yeah, you think subscription?
Yeah.
I see it more, and I see it more as like GTA Online, where it's technically free to play. Everything revolves around cash and making money, and they sell cash. As well as, I think they're going to sell ship insurance. That's the default de facto subscription. It's like, if you want to play, you almost pay for ship insurance. So that's why backers who have lifetime insurance, they don't have to pay the subscription fee. Like long ago backers.
Yeah, I think like selling insurance makes sense. But selling cash, I don't think that's a good idea.
That's why I was saying...
I think that's a bad idea.
That's why I was saying I hate how GTA does it, because they make everything super grindy to make you justify spending the cash, where I just think...
How Black Desert is.
Yeah, same with Black Desert. We were talking about also, like, what do you want the end game of Star Citizen to be?
I don't think this is one of those games that really...
But I'm just saying, like, let's say you play for 5 years. After year 5... what are you doing in the game when you turn it on?
That's a good way to put it. Good way to put it.
Like, game is out. You've been playing steady for 5 years. Let's say you have all the ships you want. What are you doing every day when you log on the game?
You're doing, like, things with your orgs or, you know, that sort of thing. Because in the future, right, there's going to be just a lot more opportunity in general, and things are going to be much more stable to where you can actually go and do these things without experiencing any sort of issues.
Sort of.
Yeah. Well, disclaimer. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Disclaimer.
You can almost see my air quotes. Sort of.
Well, what I was saying is like, I see the end game, quote unquote, being somewhat what you're saying is going and doing stuff. But what I see is it being, if they just have, like, this is why I'm like an advocate of like space casinos and like more and nicer luxury stuff and like housing and nicer apartments and corporate headquarters and keep adding stuff to like the base building and like land claims and just stuff like that of where have just like
Yeah, but no matter what, eventually somebody is going to get everything.
but not the average people. And this is where it comes into a thing. It's like, let's say you're somebody who 5 years from now, you just start playing Star Citizen. Or like 10 years from now. There would be all this stuff to earn where it's like 5, 6, 7 years of gameplay to earn all of the stuff. You know what I mean?
See, and that's one of my very big points about this game, okay? Is right now, things are not expensive.
Yeah, no,
right
nothing.
Now, things are extremely cheap right now.
In one patch cycle,
And-
you can earn every ship, and then why do you like? What else is there to do? Right now,
And
the only
do
thing to
stuff with
spend
your
money
friends.
on is ships. That's the only money
Yeah.
sink in the game is ships, and when you have them all, your money just piles up, and you're like, why on earth would I rock mine? You know, unless you're doing it for fun with a group of people. Like the money
Yeah.
just
They're
is.
doing that for a point.
What is that, Trevor?
They could be doing that for a point. They want everybody to have to touch everything right now, to test everything, to go through it. It's
Yeah,
not just
the idea right now is so that way everybody can do everything and it's not restrictive.
Yeah. That's what I'm
Um,
just saying. Like
everything,
in
find
the
all the bugs,
future,
find
though,
everything.
is like.
But in the future, no, I think it's going to be so much more difficult to actually earn money. I think it's
Yep.
going to be. I think it's going to take a lot more time. It's going to be a lot more of a time sink.
That's
and
why.
and
Yeah.
even once you open up those avenues of different gameplay, I still think that earning money is going to be a slow process.
Well, this is what I think is like, if you have an organization, if you have like a machine in place, if you have all the best of the best ships, you guys will be able to generate tons of money. But I want there to be so much stuff in the game to spend money on. Like, let's say if you're gonna build a base somewhere.
No.
Let's say if you're gonna
I
build a
don't think
base somewhere, you could sink anywhere from like you build a small base, you sunk like 1 million AUEC or 2 million AUEC. But like if you have a base that has like turrets around it, it's a whole base with like refineries, med base, like you can sink over $100 million into a base is what I want to see. So there's like always
but
something
you're
to
thinking
spend
about
money
it in
on.
the wrong concept. You're thinking about it in the terms of what things are worth right now.
No, I'm thinking that like
Right.
right now is like the fact that C2 is 4 million is ridiculous. Like that's a
Yeah, but no,
20,
no,
$30
no.
million
That's actually,
ship technically.
I mean, in the way the money is valued, yeah, maybe. But like in the future, that $4 million, think of it like this. Instead of it taking you 4 hours to make 4 million, imagine it takes you 6 months.
Well, I almost don't mind the idea of like if let's say if you're like somebody who just entered the game and you have like an Aurora tech, and this is what if it's going more like GTA, I want to see it when you start the game. It's free to play, and this is under the assumption that they're not selling ships in the future. But let's say they are selling like concept ships. But let's say they're not selling ships, and the game goes like technically free to play. You join the game, you spawn in on Hurston, and you start off literally going around and doing like on Hurston like missions where you're going and cleaning shit up or doing fucking run around stuff. And then let's say you rent your first ship,
Pick up
then you
10
start doing
cruise bottles.
box missions where you're like
The game is
transporting
never going to
stuff
go
around.
free to play. The game's never going to go free to play. I
Well,
don't
like
think
how
it
do you
ever
see
will.
if you don't own Star Citizen, how do you see it being that you start playing Star Citizen?
Okay. In the future, I think we're going to have options. I think we're going to have more options, like a lot more options. So, I see it as either you can spend just a little bit of money. Technically, as of right now, the game price is like $15.
It's like
I think in the
45.
future, of course.
Like if you want to buy like an
Well,
Aurora, like
no.
the smallest
I'm
standard.
talking about it's $15 for the game. It's the rest
For
of the
just
money
the
is for the
PU,
ship
for
that
the
you're
PU.
buying.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't just buy the PU. You have to buy a ship technically, don't you?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
but-
So it's like $45
Hold on, no.
for low.
Backtrack.
Lowest. Yeah.
Right? So the game without buying a ship, as of right now, is $15.
But can you buy the game without a ship?
Not at the moment.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But-
Like right now, technically, the lowest you can pay to get in Star Citizen is like $45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the future, I imagine that the price of the game, once development gets along its way, the price of the game is going to go up. You're going to be able to buy the game without buying a ship because they're introducing gameplay mechanics already for in-station gameplay. So that way you don't technically need to have a ship. And that kind of opens up an opportunity for a lot of, future revenue, because if they wanted to, they could still sell ships just at a higher price, which I don't think they will continue selling ships because they've already said they plan on stopping the sale of ships
I
eventually.
can see them selling concept ships, like new ships, like right now where you can like back a ship or like war bond a ship that won't be out for like another year or two. I still see them doing that, but I feel like then when it actually like comes into the game, I can see them not selling it, and the only way to buy it is in-game currency. So that like gives the incentive for people to be like, oh, I want to buy that ship as soon as it shows up on buyable. And then you'd also see like that would be a bunch of money to fund the development of that ship and blah blah blah. But then when it also comes out, you would see the masses be like, oh, that's something else for me to earn in game someday down the road.
Yeah. I don't know if they would go that route of only selling concept ships. If they do, I think it would be at a very high price. Like I'm talking like an Aurora. Let's say the Aurora wasn't an actual ship, but an Aurora size ship.
Yeah.
Would be like $200.
I don't see them doing that because I see them being way more like think of GTA Online. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, here's the thing: in the future, having a bot ship will give you such an advantage, like such a massive advantage.
Yeah.
Anytime there is any sort of database type, which I'm imagining that they won't be very often.
Well, I think when the game comes out,
massive advantage.
When I'm thinking like when the game is out, there will not be wipes. It'll be like a persistent universe that goes on forever.
I think
and ever
so
and ever.
too.
Yeah.
But I also am well aware that at some points there will probably have to be wipes.
Because they've never wiped something technically like World of Warcraft. They've removed items, but there's a lot of people who have items from classic WoW, and it's 10 years later, 12 years late, like it's like 10 years later almost, and they still have those items. You know what I mean? Where I think it's being more like that.
I think in those earlier days, I think there's gonna have to be some form of wipes. I think we're gonna run into issues whenever the game.
Well, we haven't even talked about the fact that
quotes
there's not even
releases.
like server maintenance like normal games have. So, I mean, that's going to be a thing too. I feel like they're going to have scheduled like, okay, this time. And maybe they don't need to down the road. I don't know, but that seems like a thing that needs to happen as well, like just for things breaking, you know.
Yeah, but like gameplay wise, I think there's going to be totally the option of not even owning a ship, that you can still play the game.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like if it was the free-to-play model, you can spawn in and you're at fucking Hurston. You know what I mean? And you're running around doing like from the ground up is like you don't spend any money. But it's like all those free-to-start or free-to-play games is, let's say you get into it and you play it for 2-3 months. And you earn yourself a fucking, like not even 2-3 months. Let's say you play for like a couple weeks straight, and you're like, I'm done renting ships, and then you go and buy your first Aurora. Let's say it's 1 million AUEC in the game. Well, technically, that Aurora that you just bought now has no insurance on it. So then here's where I see the de facto subscription coming in: is if it was $5 a month to insure a ship. You would be like, all right, I'll pay the $5 so that if I crash this ship, I get it back. And this is where, like, backers, because I brought this up to Sleazy before, and he was like, I would never pay a subscription for this game, ever, no matter what. And he's like, imagine...
They said they weren't going to have subscriptions.
Well, that's why I don't see them having a subscription, but I see them selling insurance that's a de facto subscription where if you don't want to play for the month, you don't pay for your
I think
ship's
that's a terrible
insurance.
idea.
Well, that's
Straight
why.
up, I think that would.
How?
I think that would ruin the game.
Well, how do you see
do
them
too.
funding it? You know what I mean?
I could see them doing it something similar to a wild tournament, whereas you can grind the AUEC to maintain your insurance, but you also have the option, like, say you don't grind it.
Exactly. So, you could either buy insurance in-game for in-game currency on that Aurora,
As long as
or
they had
pay
an
the
option
$5
to buy
month.
it in game,
That's what I'm
perfectly
saying.
fine.
It's not just out of game.
It would
It's-
have to have an option where you can do it
Yeah.
in game that is sustainable.
That's
But
why you
here's the
see
problem.
free-to-play players who are like, "Oh, I bought my first ship with in-game currency. I pay the $1 million a year for the in-game insurance on it." You know what I mean?
Here's
But
here's the 100% problem with that entire train of thought right now. If they could just buy a ship, why wouldn't they just buy a ship too?
what do you mean? Just buy a ship?
Like, if
Like
you could
in
go to the RSI
game?
store and just buy a ship, and, you know, if they're willing to pay for the insurance, that would end up being what most people would do, which makes sense. But in the same vein, I don't think they want to do that because that's going to destroy some of the gameplay. Like, that's going to exclude people from gameplay loops.
Like how so?
Because by going and buying a ship, you're skipping all of the station-style gameplay that they're planning.
Well, that's why I was saying, like, I could see them not selling... Like, I could see it being like GTA Online. If, you know, when you start GTA Online, you have, like, 10K, and you're standing in the world, and you have, like, nothing. You know what I mean? And then you can go around and start doing missions and earn up cash to buy, technically, like, your first car. Or
you can just
go and buy... You could go and buy a shark card and then buy shit. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I could see them selling currency and have everything in the game based around things being expensive. But this is where the backers and people like us now, like Mesa has an Orion. Technically, in future Star Citizen, that Orion, if you're running it correctly, can make you almost like millions a day, or like not millions, but
well,
like
you don't know that because
I'm
you
just
don't
saying,
know how things are going to be valued.
Well, this is
But
what
yeah,
I'm saying.
I get what you're saying. It can be a lot. Like it'll be something that can make you a large amount of money.
A large amount of money, but also everything in then will cost a large amount of money. Like fuel for that will cost a large amount of money. Paying for this, that, and the other thing will cost a large amount of money. So like, it will just be like, that's why I think if they based everything around AUEC and had it like balanced correctly, having the end game of the game just be earning and spending AUEC, and always have something to spend AUEC on.
That's the entire reason why I don't think that'll work. Is because it's not RSI that's going to be balancing the economy.
Well,
it's going to be us.
Players, yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah. But
And
that's what I'm saying, like, things like money sinks, like a space casino and just, like, nicer properties and nicer penthouses, is you will never be out of... There will not be players that are like, I have $2 billion and I don't need money for anything. You know what I mean? Because they'd be like, oh, well, I went and bought the nicest house. I went and bought the newest 890 jump type ship. I went and did this. And they're always just like, whenever I have enough money, there's something else I want to get. You know what I mean? Also, what's up, Oddball?
Yeah, and I can see that. But I don't think they're going to fund the game like that. If anything, I think they might do the insurance thing, like just optional that you can purchase that don't massively impact the game.
And that also lets it
So,
where
like-
backers, because you know how like early backers, everything was LTI, and then then it was like 10-year, and now it's even coming down to like 2-year and stuff. As it fades out, it's going to be where like when game comes out, all the people who previously bought ships, they're not getting hit hard with having to pay the subscription fee, and especially the original backers, all their ships are LTI, so they will never pay a Star Citizen insurance subscription fee, technically. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. I don't think that they will make backers of the game, like backers now, in the future, pay the subscription if they switch to a subscriber style model.
Well, if they did it the way I was thinking of, where insurance is the subscription, they already have insurance on their vehicles and stuff, so they would never. It's if they got new stuff, they would be like, ah, fuck, I gotta buy insurance on this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but all of that, like, it's not a subscription if it's optional. It's not required.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's
like
an optional purchase.
It's an optional subscription, almost like, you know how you can subscribe in Star Citizen right now for like $10, $20 a month. That's optional, but how many people do it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like
As long as
GTA
it's not
5. Like
required
those
and
cards aren't required, but how many people buy
Yeah.
them? They've made like $6
As
billion
long as it's
off
not
selling
required.
those cards. You know what I mean?
And it's optional, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But as far as the game going to like a subscribe, like a sub to play model, I think that'd be okay too.
I see that as the simplest, but when I brought that up to like Sleazy, I was like, Sleazy, how do you think they're gonna pay for this? Do you think they're gonna do subscription? He was like, I will never ever ever pay a subscription for this, because like they're just not used to like the World of Warcraft style
Okay, I gotta say
of
this is,
paying to play games. You know what I mean?
as someone who played World of Warcraft for several years, who plays Black Desert, who played Final Fantasy XIV, I would not subscribe for Star Citizen even as a finished product.
That's what I'm saying. So many people are just against the idea.
No, I 100% think once
if they were
once
to do
it's-
that, I legitimately think that would be enough to cause such a major player base to leave that they wouldn't.
See,
make the subscription
that's your
model
misconception. Is you're basing it off of the game now.
Even finished though,
You're not
people just
basing it off.
aren't
I am
interested
looking at
in
it
paying a
as a finished
subscription.
product from this perspective.
Yeah.
Like,
As 100% in the future, the way they're describing the game, it is going to be an MMO. I can.
But even MMOs today,
100%
how many people are
see
sick of paying the
That
WoW
doesn't
sub?
matter, Tabs.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. People are sick of paying the
Yeah.
WoW sub. People don't
look
want
at
to do
how
that.
many subscribers even Final Fantasy is losing
Yeah.
after their initial population boost. Look at the numbers now as they're
'Cause
going down as Endwalker teeters out, because what happens in those cycles, they do an expansion, the expansion runs out of content.
And like
people get
I'm
bored
of
the
the
current gameplay
opposite.
loop.
I don't think this game is going like you have to have a subscription to play it.
Yeah.
I see
I
it
don't
being
think
free to
it'll go
play.
that
That's what I'm
direction.
saying.
I
Free
think
to
it'll-
play,
I don't think it'll go
but
free to play.
entice
I
you
think-
to spend money
Yeah.
on it.
I don't think it'll go free to play either. I think the way that in the future it'll work is either they're gonna make the choice to go sub to play, or they're gonna charge for the initial game and that'll be it, and then you have a bunch of optional purchases.
What they said at the beginning, though, right? Is
Yeah.
that it is you have Squadron 42 is the single player game that you have
Yeah.
to buy into, and then it launches into the PU.
Because it's so similar. If that becomes a thing, if Squadron 42 exists, and if you buy Squadron 42, you get access to the PU as well. That's going to be so similar to the GTA Online model of where you played a game, and then they're like, do you want to play more of this game online with a bunch of people? And then you're like, oh, that sounds great. You get on, you can play free to play, and you'll have those free to play players that are like, I earned every bit of AUEC I have in this game. I've never spent money on it. That number of those people will be so incredibly small that it will be like
Well,
one
I don't
in a
think
million.
they're gonna sell
you know?
AUEC. I straight up don't think they're gonna sell it
I
in the future.
I can't see them not, because they already do. And they sell it
well,
in
they
such
already
an
do.
infinitesimal, like, it's like what, $20 for like 20K or like something stupid
That's
like
ridiculous, yeah.
that. Yeah.
But
Oh,
also,
I think they did that on
you
purpose.
can.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever looked at those, but you know there's a limit on how much you can buy because they plan on discontinuing the sale of it. They've already said that.
Yeah.
And that limit is actually already in place. You can only buy one of those.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like,
didn't we talk about, does that have something to do with like your actual starting AUEC? Like
Yes.
when
Like
you,
you're starting
yeah.
AUEC.
Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah,
permanent
it's not like-
there AUEC
Yeah.
that you start with. Yeah. Now, Oddball said, now this is a valid point, completely valid point. I sincerely hope it never goes free to play, because that will absolutely wreck the entire Star Citizen community
I'll be right
with
back.
every toxic 13-year-old playing it. Like, you will
100%.
get so many of them. You know what I mean? But here's
That's
where
why.
I
That's
see
why
it.
I was saying I don't think it'll ever go free to play.
Here's where I almost see
Specifically
that
because
happening
they
now.
cater to a specific audience.
Yeah, this is why I'm an advocate of it being like they go full tilt. Like already right now, the average age of Star Citizen players is over 20. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I'm an advocate of them just going full tilt with this being like an 18 plus rated game and just
Yeah,
accept
but
that.
doesn't stop kids from
No.
playing.
But like literally go full tilt with it being like an 18 plus game where there's gambling, drugs. I don't even care if there's like strip clubs in the game. You know what I mean? Like just go in that direction. And that being said, how many 13-year-olds play GTA Online? Like 100% get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not going to stop them from playing it.
Yeah.
But just have it where it's almost like you know how like RuneScape has it where there's like free to play servers and pay to play servers? Don't have it like that. But you would have it where like, let's say Loreville chat is like contained to Loreville. It's not like universe chat. You know what I mean? So you would have a lot of
in
the
future,
cities being like where all the free to plays are fucking at. You know what I mean? Because they're trying to earn
once
their way
server
out.
meshing comes out, global chat's going bye-bye.
Yeah,
I can
that's what I'm
already tell you
saying.
that much.
So to be like a lot of
God, I
these
hope so.
super toxic 13-year-old players will be in the fucking like starting locations technically, like the major cities, trying to grind and beg money.
13-year-olds. How about the 20-year-olds?
Well, even
30-year-olds?
20-year-olds. But I'm just saying, it's pretty much like as soon as you leave Hurston, 90% of that toxic shit will be gone. Not even 90%, but like a large chunk of it stays in those cities where it's all the free-to-play players who've not earned their way out of the fucking like Hurston yet. You know what I mean?
I don't
Literally
think this
dump
game
them
will
in
ever
first.
go free to play.
I'm just so curious to see how they'll do it.
Go free to play.
Because there's going to take an incredible amount of funding to have this make sense. You know what I mean?
Dude, this game's already geared towards cosmetics. It has so many opportunity to like make money off of other avenues that's not even in the game, like stuff with like the juke boxes that they try to sell. Like,
I know.
like you can see them,
But that
you can
stuff
see
all
them
just
doing
adds
stuff.
to free to play because you're spending
Oh
money
yeah, I
on
mean,
all
I
this other
think they're gonna
stuff.
have another model too to make their money, but I think there's also a lot that
I think
can
you're
be
still.
made.
I think no matter what, you're gonna have to buy the game at very least. to
Yeah,
play.
yeah, I agree with that.
Well,
I think
that's
you're
why
gonna
I
have
see
to
it
pay,
being
like-
tied to like, if you buy Squadron 42, it comes with the PU.
They've
And
already
then-
said that they are not going to
Yeah, they're
combine the
separating
two. There's going to be a bundle to where you can buy both, but you have to like if you buy Squadron 42, you're going to have to buy Star Citizen separately.
Well, do you see what the price is for them together? It's $60, $45 and $15.
Yeah.
So like that's a normal price like game. So yeah, they're definitely trying to make it so you really don't have to do unless they come out like in a year or two and say, you know what, we changed it. We're changing it so you need to buy, you know, well, I mean, I guess everything's subject to change with this game, I feel
Yeah.
like. So it's like, yeah.
And like,
But they've
yeah.
said in the past that you will be able to buy them separately, but you'll also be able to buy them both in a bundle.
Yeah.
that's what I
It's
think.
kind of like GTA actually, technically,
That's what I'm
right?
saying. That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
so similar. This game is so similar to like how they do GTA,
Like
and
Red
they
Dead
make
or
billions off of
something.
GTA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you can
I
buy
just-
Red Dead Online only. You don't have to buy
Yeah.
the single player and stuff like that.
I
Yeah.
just don't see them selling cash. I think that would be an awful decision.
I can see
I think
them
that would be
doing
a
it.
horrendous decision.
I can see them doing it, and I could just see it though as being like, you're kind of retarded to buy cash, because the way I would like to see it is like, if you just know how to play the game, you can earn the cash way more
Yeah, but
effectively
that's
than
like-
buying it.
That's
So
like
you do
Grand
their
Theft
money.
Auto, right? Initially, it's all player generated.
Okay.
So initially, right?
Yeah.
In GTA, it was you're dumb if you buy shark cards because you can just go out and earn that money.
But then here's the thing:
But
with it
now-
being a public
But nowadays,
company,
if
or not
you
even
don't
public
buy
company,
shark cards,
with it being a
you're
profit
fucked.
motivated company, they started adjusting all the payouts of everything down to where it's like you're pretty much might as well have your nuts stepped on if you don't buy shark cards. Now, that, in my opinion, is the balance here that could be struck. If everything in the game revolves around AUEC, almost like GTA, where everything revolves around cash in the game, all the cosmetics, all the stuff, it's viable in the game with cash. But they make it
I think
where
if
they
they
fuck
sell
you with
AUC,
cash.
it'll ruin the game.
I'm curious
Straight
how
up,
else
I
they're
think
going to
if
do
they
it.
sell AUC.
That's
it'll
what
ruin
all I'm saying is like, do you see them as being it where you buy the game, you do or do not pay a subscription, and then you also have to pay for all the cosmetics as well. You know what I mean? Because that's getting into World of Warcraft where that model's dying, of where you buy the box game, you pay a subscription, and they also charge you for cosmetics. And people are just like, I'm not going to be triple dipped on to play a game.
That's the thing, is it's going to be like one or the other, right? Is I see, like, here's the two ways that I see it could happen, okay? Either A, the game's free to play.
Yeah.
But it's like, you can download it, but you have to pay a subscription to play it. And then they also sell cosmetics. Or B, you have to pay to, get the game, and then you can pay to get cosmetics.
Here's what I say is, like, if they're, like, when it comes down to a game like this, if they're going to do it where the bulk of their money comes from selling either cash or cosmetics,
All right, I'm back.
that, or even like a subscription and then cosmetics, or anything like that, that original $60 is an impediment for getting people in to start getting into playing the game and then be like, all right, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy a fucking cosmetics, you know what I mean? That's where I could see, like, them not... That's why I'm saying free... Like, I could see free to play or subscription. But just a lot of people don't like the idea of subscription, you know what I mean? Like, we're kind of going in a bit of a circle here, but, like, each thing has its, like, negatives and positives, but, like,
I
Eleanor
think free
said...
to play would fuck the game.
Well, as Eleanor said, and Sleazy said, I will never pay a subscription to play this game. So there's a huge chunk of people who are like that, who will never pay a subscription. There's a huge chunk of people...
And that's understandable,
who
but
are
in
like...
the same sense...
What is it?
I think if they were to go that route, they would be alright if they had people leave. I don't think it would hurt them in the slightest.
That's why I think my bet is that they sell insurance and they almost sell cash, and then they have everything in the game revolve around AUEC.
I think if they made insurance a optional purchase, like you could buy in-game or with real money, that would be fine.
You'd see so many people be like, I'm not going to spend my in-game cash on fucking insurance because it's hard to get. I'll just pay the $5 every month that I decide to play. And then you'd see the people where they make a lot of the money is the people who have 5 and 10 ships.
Yeah, but here's where you're fucking up the game. Like, I think if they sell AUEC, it'll completely destroy Star Citizen. It'll literally kill the game.
I just don't quite see how. Like, it may destroy for some people, but, like, that being said, it's like, how much money does GTA produce?
Destroy... Like, look at GTA Online, though.
Yeah. I haven't played it in years because I fucking hate their model.
Look at the player counts.
Yeah.
Like, that game is... I would consider that game to be fucking dead. Because... Yeah, people still play it, but their active player count, like their unique player count, it's not very high.
Yeah. But, like, right now,
Which game?
the unique player count of Star Citizen is not very high either. You know what I mean?
It's not, but this is also, like... I mean, it's a big game, but it's also not a big game. It's not some AAA title that was, it's been known for like many, many years. The average person has no fucking idea what Star Citizen is.
Yeah. That's why I see it. Like, imagine
and their
if
mom
it
knows
was...
what fucking Grand Theft Auto is.
Yeah. Well, like, that's what I'm saying. Imagine if it's in, like you're saying, in the future, Squadron 42's out, and that got a bunch of people to play it. And then Squadron 42 also came with a thing that says, play on the PU, where it's like the persistent universe. That'll funnel in a bunch more people. And then also say it's free to start playing. That would get a pile of people playing the game and knowing about it, and then that just generates word of mouth of like, oh, you got to come play Star Citizen. And then how do you get the money out of those people is just
but whenever you sell money, do you know what that creates?
Oh,
that creates this whole open world into just a giant PvP sandbox. That's all it will be. Nobody will do any of the side content.
Not even a PvP
Nobody
sandbox.
will do anything.
It turns it into like either people who kind of wail hard just buy fortunes of money and pay for shit. You know what I mean? Or it's a thing of where people are just constantly grinding money to afford shit in the game.
Yeah, but nobody's gonna sit there and grind money to afford shit. That's not how it works.
But that's
Like-
what 90% of the gameplay is right now, is grinding money to buy ships. That's like 99% of what people play Star Citizen
Yeah, but
for.
nobody will want to play because Joe Smo over there just, came by and wrecked your shit because he just spent $500
play.
on cash.
Nobody want to play if it becomes pay to win.
Yeah.
The moment it's pay to win, it loses all credibility.
Pay to win's a slippery slope, though, in terms of like how you define
Yeah,
pay to win.
exactly. Like,
But
So-
we're not. But the thing about that slippery slope is that just becomes right off the bat the label, and people will.
but I'm just saying, like,
jump
Yeah,
on
the
it.
right
second you make in-game currency purchasable, it fucks the game. Like the game's
you
dead
can.
at that point.
But
Yeah.
you can play it by in-game currency now. You can buy currency. You can
But
buy
you
shit.
can't.
It's in the store. It's
Go
ungodly-
try and buy more than one of them. You can't. The max
Yeah.
you can buy is 20,000.
And isn't it for your starting AUEC?
Yeah, yeah.
It has nothing to do
Yeah,
with
but kinda-
like,
for your
yeah.
starting AUC.
I know Gearham just kind of got here, but we were talking about that. But like, it technically, it's pay to save time right now, because the only thing that there is in the game to spend money on is ships, and you can just buy the
Yeah.
ships. You know what I mean?
What I classify pay to win is paying for something that can like do more damage.
That's what I'm
Or
saying.
Let's say that's my pay to
If
win.
the
like,
game is
what I
out,
classify.
You
Agree,
can still
but
only
it-
pay to
you're
buy a
paying money
ship.
by getting an advantage.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
And
Yeah,
you can
but
still
here's
only
the
pay to
thing,
buy a
that
ship.
is-
If you can't fly the ship, you'll get
That's what I was
smoked by
thinking
some
of.
person who fucking has never spent a dime
That's what
and
I
they're
was
free
thinking.
to
There's
play
a skill
player.
cap. Like
There's a skill
with,
cap
like-
to it as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
and that's the difference. Your character from the moment you log in from a fresh wipe is the exact same character after you've ground down 100 hours.
Yeah.
But there are still people who are still going to sit there and argue that slippery slope of pay to win.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right. Just because you can afford to buy a hammerhead
Doesn't mean you're worth a
A,
fuck.
you
Yeah,
have
at
the
size 9
skills
hits
to
it, you're
use
done.
it,
You know what I mean?
or B, the friends to freaking arm it, to crew it.
Yeah, and I think of it like Dead was saying, like it's like a save time kind of a thing, and that's
Yeah.
like when you
but
buy a
here's
ship
the
as
thing.
opposed
In
to
the future, right now it's a safe time kind of thing. But in the
Yeah.
future, it will not be a safe time kind of thing.
Well, like how so? What do you think that if you could buy currency with, you'd be able to buy that would make you better than other people?
Okay, think of it like this, right? Let's say the game just released. Everybody is starting from square one because they completely wiped everything,
Yeah.
right? So you log on, but also this guy right next to you logs on too. And you see that he instantly goes and buys a land plot and slaps it down in a desirable spot
Mhm.
and has, a nice fleet of ships. Meanwhile, you're just starting out with jack shit. Right? That gives him a massive advantage because land plots are limited. That gives every single person that goes and, purchases land a massive advantage. On top of the facilities that bases will have, that gives them just an absolute massive head start. Like literally months of work head start.
how does he affect you though?
I was
is
gonna
what
say two
I'm gonna
things.
find out.
I don't see land claims being a permanent thing because they already said it's a beacon. I guarantee there's going to be a way that if you can take over someone's base, take their beacon, hold it for X amount of time without it being contested, their beacon gets returned to them, and the base is no more theirs.
They've
that's how I
actually
can see
already
it.
stated that it kind of has to be a permanent thing because they've sold them through the cash shop.
But that's why
With
I
the
don't
description of it being
quite-
permanent.
It says it's a beacon that you can place, and I'd have to read it again, but it is not stated as it's like you're buying a set fixed permanent spot. It's you buy a beacon that can claim a 4x4 area, is what it says. And then besides that is
The
also,
size varies, but
if you just
yeah.
start the game day one, you can go and put in a fucking application to Evil.org, then join Evil.org, and now you with nothing can join in with them and go and fuck some group of 5 people who have spent 3-4 years playing it, because you just hop in a turret on one of like Evil.org's fleets and just roll in and fucking shit on them all day
And
long.
see,
You know what I mean?
that's perfectly fine
Yeah.
because you're not spending money to join a group and
Well,
go
that's what I'm
fuck
saying.
people up.
That's why there's going to be a huge thing of like, I paid
balance.
nothing. I joined. I paid nothing. I play with my friends all day, and I do not spend a dime. You know what I mean? That's going to be a lot.
But then there's also going to be the people in groups that spend a bunch of money.
What is that guy
and
gaining?
Have a distinct advantage over you.
What's okay? That's stop right there.
What advantage you're talking
What's the
about?
advantage that you get?
Ships, weapons,
For what?
all that sort of shit.
For what though?
To fuck other
What's the-
people up.
But like,
But
if
for
you were
one-
bad
like
at
your
flying,
one-
just because you go and buy a Perseus, first of all, like there comes a ceiling on ships of where just because you can go and buy the biggest ship doesn't mean you have 13 people to crew it.
Yeah, but
know
take
what
the whole skill thing out of it, and I guarantee you, if you're starting out on day one and you're like, hey, does a bunch of people want to come crew a Hammerhead? You're gonna get a bunch of new players that are all fucking hyped about it because they've never seen the ship before. Like, you're gonna get people.
But that's what I'm saying too. It's
And,
like you could also just say that, like, okay, you could start day one, all you do is buy an Eclipse, or the people who already own Eclipse, and then they just go and torp your shit, and you're like, it doesn't matter how fucking good you are
But
or
here's
how
the
much
thing:
money you
on day
spend.
one, as a player that earns money legitly, you're not gonna be able to buy an Eclipse
Well, that's
because money
kind
is
of
gonna
what
be
I'm-
so much harder to earn.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Is like that's gonna be referred to as like equaling
it'll
the
get the
playing
label
field
of pay
is
to
what it's
win.
going to be considered. The buying of cash is going to be like, well, some people have months to grind, and some people don't have months to grind. So we're going to give them the ability to buy months of grinding. Is what they're going to do, because that's the same way they justify it in all these
Yeah,
games.
but that's instantly gonna get labeled as pay to win, and it's gonna give the game a
that's what I
massively
mean, like-
negative image.
The only game that
But-
doesn't have that label is like a Fortnite. It's technically like, but that's a free to play, and all they do is sell cosmetics. I don't see this being all about selling cosmetics to fund the game.
Did I also say something?
Yeah.
While the current intention is for the model of buying ships to go away, there is also the chance that they never go away from that.
That's the other thing
And-
that I forgot to mention. It's like, I'm skeptical that
here's-
they'll ever stop selling ships. Is what I'm kind of getting. at.
They've already started moving away from it. Because remember whenever they used to offer every single ship for sale all the time?
Do you have something more to say, Eleanor?
Yeah.
'Cause I'll always be cutting you off.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say something?
Dominating.
I was also just going to say that even though they're putting it at limited time, that's a financially advantageous move for them, simply because then they can charge more, or you have more people buying that since it's only offered for a limited time.
Yeah, like they fill out some of their quarterly stuff with events, because if they need to make money going into like a quarter to make everything kind of like look legit, they put on a ship sales event like Alien Week, and then you see everyone who wants an alien ship piles in and buys it at that time, so it like gets them their boost of money.
It creates that
FOMO
creates
and
that
stuff.
FOMO, fear of
Yeah, yeah.
missing out.
Like hype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I see them still selling. Here's what: if they stop selling ships, I see them still selling concept ships. Like, I see that being a thing. Is like when a new concept gets released, I see it going out as War Bond, where you could buy it for like a short window, then it goes away, and then the only way then to get it is whenever it's actually put out in the game for in-game currency. If they do get
See,
rid of
I
ships,
could
I
see
still
that,
see them doing
but-
that.
Selling AUEC, I think, is the worst possible move that they could ever make.
I agree.
I don't think they should either, to be honest, like right off the bat. If they, don't start it out that way, in my opinion. But, I mean, if they find it's
I
not
just
going
see
to
it
be
eventually
detrimental
going
later. But, yeah, I don't know.
Like,
It's not
I
going to be
think-
AUEC. This is Alpha UEC. Just kidding.
Yeah.
it would
Yeah,
It's going to be just
UEC, sorry.
UEC. Yep.
Yeah.
I think if they did that, it would instantly create a situation of, okay, this game's dead, moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I do think because so many players, so far have bought into the game, by buying ships, I think a lot more players would be comfortable with them just announcing, hey, we looked at this. This is just the most financially viable thing to do that still, gives you the experience that you bought in for.
Here's the thing: is like I could see them buying AUEC, and most of us just never ever having to buy it. You know what I mean? It would be like when you see somebody be like, "Yeah, I just bought like 20 million AUEC." Be like, "Why on earth did you do that?" You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you
but
could have
that's
just
the-
came
look
with
at-
us
look
on
at
our
what
fucking
happened with
Orion
GTA.
and just make money.
Look what happened with GTA, right? Everything got massively devalued, and it just kind of fucked the economy, the in-game economy,
They
because they
tuned
started
the game
selling.
to make you
Yeah,
have to
UEC.
buy the AUEC. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like,
Yeah,
if you can
and they
strike a
started
balance
pushing
by
down outputs.
not tuning the game to be like not make sense.
But you also got to keep in mind, like, they're a company. Their job is to get your money.
to make money. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, I'm holding it in my head
so
that like
over
they want to
time,
make
it'll
money,
slowly
but they don't
become
want to kill their
like that.
game.
Yeah.
So there's that
It's a
balance
balancing
of
interest, right?
you have to
Yeah.
you have to find that balance of not killing your game, but also making a fortune of money. Whereas
Yeah,
GTA
I
has
see
made
that.
billions of dollars by selling currency, and that was, you may say it's dying now, but like from my perspective, is that's because it's an old as fuck game that has the only content updates
Outlived
is
its
just like
cycle.
it's out of the cycle. You know what I mean? That has made its money, and they're coming out with GTA 6. We'll see with GTA 6. I guarantee they're going to do the same fucking thing, of where they just sell currency and it's going to make billions a year again. You know
Yeah,
what I
they're
mean?
gonna do the same fucking thing. But
Yeah.
do you see like a Star
Hogging and
Citizen
driving.
2 coming around the corner? Like that's the thing. Is like it creates a scenario of it just over time kills the game.
Well, I just see it as like the way that they would release content is like every year is a new system, is how I see them, like continuing their content, and the way that they would fund that is through just like constantly having an income coming from the game to justify making the
Yeah,
next
but-
system.
Selling AUEC devalues everything.
You guys
And
repeated
makes
yourself
everything
like
eventually
15 times
worthless.
On the same subject about the AUC.
What is
selling
that,
it.
Trevor?
You guys repeated yourselves like 10 to 15 times.
Hey,
Well,
during
that's-
you
that.
going in circles?
Yeah, we're in a bit of a circle here. Yeah, like I get your point, Tabs. You
You
don't think
repeat-
selling AUEC is good. I just don't see how else they're gonna do it. That's all I'm saying. Because I know a lot of people don't want to pay
selling
subscription.
cosmetics or even maintaining selling ships would be perfectly fine.
Well, that's why I am of the perspective that they're probably just going to keep selling ships, and if they don't, then they're going to sell like currency. That's all I'm saying.
hmm
Which is de facto
Well,
just selling
I-
ships, just a different way around.
If they don't continue selling ships, because they said that they won't, I imagine, I take that with a little bit of grain of salt that they're going to stop selling ships.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm
Um,
saying. Yeah, like this
if they
conversation
do
is based
stop
on
selling
if they
ships,
do.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they do stop selling ships, I think the best route for them to go would be to sell the game at, like an actual price, not go free to play, not go subscription, but then also sell cosmetics. Because those cosmetics can get really in depth.
Yeah.
I mean, they could
Yeah.
go all the way down to music for jukeboxes.
So it's World of Warcraft minus the subscription, is what you're saying.
Well, think about that. You have like pets, you had like mounts, you have like
Yeah.
like there's so many things that kind of mimic this game that you could even go further on.
Well,
Like,
that's why the reason a lot
you
of
know,
people
with
hate
hangers and stuff.
World of Warcraft is they feel that they're being triple dipped on. Whereas, like, if World of Warcraft removed the subscription, whereas you just buy the expansion and then you pay for cosmetics. But that's the thing. Here's why World of Warcraft's hilarious. They sell the box price of the game. They sell a subscription. They sell cosmetics, and they also sell in-game cash. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
Yeah,
like
they do everything.
they do
practically. They're
everything. They
just
also sell
milking out.
services, player services. You know what I mean? So it's like quad.
Yeah,
it's like
player
five-way
yeah,
dipping.
totally.
It's five-way
It's
like.
race change, server transfer.
That's
all
why,
that
like,
all they're doing is just like it's just milking you.
well, that's
fast
why I
and
think
dry.
so many people are sick of the Blizzard thing. That's why I could
Yeah.
see it. You have to have as little ways of quadruple dipping, but have a way that funds the whole thing, and that's why I could see all cosmetics, all content, everything just be in the game, but everything revolves around UEC. That's why I was saying it's like the simplest thing. And then if
So,
on top
really-
of that you wanted to sell insurance as well, like maybe.
Like, I don't think that so just to get my 2 cents on the insurance thing, I actually, the more I think about it, I almost sort of like it if you had that option to where it's like, I don't know how they would build it, how the model would be, how many ships, but whatever. I mean, if you have a fleet of ships that you're purchasing, you have the option to work it off and just pay it off in game, or you could be like, you know what, I don't have the time for that. It's a time thing. I'm a casual player, but I don't want to lose my ships. I'm going to pay $5 a month or something, like money towards like I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that wouldn't like, because if you play the game a lot, you're not going to care. You're like, dude, I make so much money with my pledge ship, like my Orion or whatever. I don't need to do that. So it's kind of like to each their own. Like that, if it's not going to affect the game in the long run, like I'm fine with that. Like if it's like an insurance like subscription that you want to, that doesn't make it so you have to do it. You know what I mean?
That's how I could see it. You'd see a lot of people where they're like, oh, I fly one ship at a time, and I insure one of my ships. Or maybe I fly 2 ships at a time, and I insure 2 ships, and every other month I switch the insurance around to another 2 ships of mine, so that I'm only paying $10 a month, and I leave most of the ships in the hangar.
And all of us people, we have like we keep
LTI.
I keep forgetting
LTI,
too. Like almost every one of my ships is like LTI.
So all the
like,
original backers, they don't have to pay this subscription fee, quote unquote. You know what I mean?
See, I like that idea.
Change? Did they release something that you guys are talking about this?
No,
What?
no. I'm just we were talking about
In the
other
subscription and
stuff
everything?
originally. We were talking about like persistent empty streaming and like the new update on like NPCs for blah blah
this
blah blah blah. But we
conversation
just
just
started talking about
evolves.
this. Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
start talking about PES, or like what we like, and then all of a sudden it's like it's like a
No,
whole like just
this
discussion
is how this
about
got
Star
here.
Citizen.
This is how we got here.
Yeah, I was just
Before
wondering because like I said, I've been back in this since November of
like 2013. you said.
2013,
Yeah.
and they've Chris Roberts has already come out about that whole LTI and the insurance aspect of it. LTI is not that big. The insurance is not that big in the game. Everybody's blowing their, getting all crazy over it when it first launched, when it's coming out and everybody was buying it. And it's like, don't get crazy over the whole insurance portion of it.
Yeah, it even says
Well,
on
they
there
don't
like disclaimer, like it can be changed, subject to change type stuff.
That's what I'm saying. They have no idea, technically, what they're going to do with the insurance thing. Yeah,
going out there. Same with this vision of you lose a ship just because you have insurance. That doesn't mean anything. It's all based on the economy, and it's going to be based on what's on supply and demand. If it's there, you'll have to fall in line with.
No, you're
everybody
totally
else.
right. So like I've read so many things on Reddit. Like there's these discussions just in obviously word and text form, but like there's a lot of people out there like the Trevors and like people that have played this and have read all that stuff in the beginning that aren't even sold on the fact that the ships will be like set in stone, meaning like there's nothing that says that you can't have those taken away and you just essentially get store credit at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
you want to hear?
There's
shifting gears in my chat just sent something. Now this is so like people would be so mad at this, but this is how one way where like legally they would get away with doing this. He says, "I hope LTI is for game lifetime, not character lifetime." Imagine if the LTI they based it around like how with like the Death of a Spaceman thing is like when your character dies, the LTI's gone. I would be like, so many people would lose. But like technically,
so many
they
people
could
would be up in arms.
Oh, they
That'd
could
be
get
so
away with
bad.
that technically of being like, listen, it said lifetime.
Hey.
Your character's dead. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my god,
but anyway,
yeah.
But
like
anyway,
your next to your air doesn't get like your
LTI.
LTI when it drops down.
yeah. But one thing that I was going to say though is how we got on this conversation, Tabs, is we were talking about around station jobs. So like we were talking originally about how cool it would be. We were talking about like gameplay loops and mechanics. How cool would it be if like in the game there was little jobs that you could do at like the refinery of where, let's say you're on Arkel 1, contracts would pop up where it's like refinery job, go and fix this or like do this
See,
processing.
we already
terminal.
have proof that is coming.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. We were just talking about like how that would be implemented.
We're just talking about how cool that would
Yeah.
be. Like,
Yeah,
like
that's gonna be
reiterating.
like fucking
I
awesome.
don't know if you guys remember when it first came out, the backers, there was that option too, is where I forget how much it was. If you I forget what package it was, but anyways, you would get your own station I guess it would be a store.
Like a Habs.
You
Oh,
like a
Oh,
store
yes.
in your merchant store and everything.
Yeah,
like
you would
that.
get a stall to sell goods out of on a station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and just like
'cause there's-
Banu Merchantman is like one of those.
Yeah,
floating
you're gonna
things.
have stalls and things in the Banu Merchantman. Which
That's-
I think that even just on the Banu Merchantman, I think that opens so many interesting gameplay loops, because that also means that you can have ships come in with their cargo that they can set up a stall and they can sell from your ship.
That would be
Just
players
like
selling
reasonable.
things that, like, if you had everything in the game based around, like, you could buy it in the game, you'd have players that are like, oh, I bought this, like, thing in the game and I'm selling it here for X million AUEC, and people would be like, oh my god, that's cool as fuck. This guy has this in his stall, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Well, it's just like the Starfarer. You know, the Starfarer, once they get that operational, that refinery bit, yeah, you go refine your hydrogen, and then you go sell that. You can. I was looking at it. It's like, that's pretty cool how you can set the prices on there and wait for people to come up and fill up their gas tanks and shit like that.
That's why a big test
it's
for
like-
the... What is that? Faye?
I was going to say, admittedly, I am curious how, like, what their plan for players like me are, who have more faith in terms of, like, FPS-oriented stuff, a more scavenge type of playstyle where, you know, we just take down enemies or wait for a friendly to die and then just take their equipment and solely gain equipment through looting. Like, I almost never buy anything unless it's, like, a specific armor set that I like the appearance.
Well, from my understanding, all the shipwrecks and stuff that we see now, eventually all of those are going to be dynamically spawned. I mean, you could just be exploring through space or something and come across a wreck.
And then pick
and-
it clean of all the, like, gear and stuff in it. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Plus, you gotta remember, we got all the hostiles we gotta fight, the Vandal and whoever else.
I'm more curious about, like, the economic prospects of that.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, like, say you do a bunker mission and, like, you go in completely naked. Say you're doing it on Hurston. Go in with a hospital gun. And you wait for one of your allies to die, pick up their gun, you know, take down 2 or 3 more people, pick up their armor, pick up their gun. I mean, I'm curious how that's going to impact the economy, I guess is what I'm
Well, it's just good for saving money.
Yeah.
And then you could also take all that stuff, either go sell
And
it
then
for
sell
like
it.
a cheap price to a store, like you can now,
Or
if open it up on a
get
brand
Or
new
another
stall.
player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you could open up your own stall and
Yeah.
sell armor and guns to other
Sell
players.
railguns, man.
I
There
know
you
people
go.
who do that out of their
Railgun
Constellation
salesman.
Phoenix. They just sell weapons out their ships and stuff as like traveling
Yeah.
arms dealers.
Yeah.
I think where we're at right now in the alpha, this is just to get us a taste and whatever. It's going to flip 180 or pretty close to 180, and the bunkers we have right now is
Right.
it's all going to flip into the Vandal, and the bunkers are where we're going to be fighting the Vandal and supporting all that kind of stuff. You know, after the launch of stuff.
That's
So-
another thing that we were talking about. That Faye came in right at the tail end of it, but we were talking about dynamic like PvE and PvP stuff, and how like it's kind of hard for me to like re-explain it all. But it was about how like if they start having dynamic stuff of where like here's the thing, Tabs, is like I've recorded this. I'm actually live streaming right now. You should almost go back and listen to this, like, cause some of the stuff that we were talking about, because it
Yeah.
fills in a lot of like what we were talking about off the start here, of where we got to the conversation of talking about like why they would be doing some of what we were talking about. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to re-explain it, but it was like
Yeah, I
it would
got
take
you.
too long. It would take too long. It was like a 20-minute discussion of like
Oh yeah, it was like
dynamic PvE events
On
yeah.
that change how the
On-
game works. Like,
I'm
on the
waiting for them to-
subject of like dynamic and events and whatnot, they did talk about having a bunch of player triggered events as well.
that's some
Um,
what we were
That sounds
talking
very
about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that could be a very interesting kind of, in the future, of course, concept where they have dynamic and player triggered events to where sometimes you can just come across some big event that not very many people know about and just go in there with your friends and do it and leave, and it'll be a whole kind of like experience.
Yeah. We were talking about
And
like week to week events would be like almost like a gate that connects to a Vandal system, is the Van Duel are kind of pouring through that gate, and then it'd be like an hour, 2 hour event where it's almost like Xenothreat of where you're there, like keeping the Van Duel pushed back.
Holding off the Van Duel.
Yeah, and if not enough people are there fighting them off, it triggers
Then
a
they could just
larger
take over
event
this-
of they start taking one of the planets in the system, and then that triggers like
Yeah,
a
it
war
affects your
event.
economy.
Yeah, and
I
a
think I
economy.
was there for the tail end of that conversation.
Yeah.
Last time, Dead Sea, me and you did talk about jump gates and how they plan on having some that are dynamic that only open or close for a couple of hours, or some that open and close for 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, and that's
Well-
like exploration gameplay is finding these shortcut jump gates that whoever finds it, they could start
Dude, look at how
trading
cool
through
this
that
is.
jump gate and making a fortune, or like sell that rights to an org or some shit.
No, I also think that's something that would be really cool in terms of like PvP gameplay would be, first of all, less than lethal weapons and the jails in the Cuddy Blue working.
Yeah.
So that, like, say for instance, you find someone who's been a bat noodle, you can take them down with a less. You have a chance to take them down with a less than lethal weapon.
That's actually something that was in the Inside Star Citizen report recently.
That's going with the
They
jail
talked
content
about-
and stuff.
Yeah, they talked about bringing bounty hunting to tier 2, which involves having the jails actually work in ways to capture instead of kill.
Here's one too,
That's
Tabs.
really cool.
With Death of a Spaceman type stuff, of where you only have so many regens, then you could have groups be like, all right, I know how we're going to make money. We're going to kidnap the CEO of Evil Org. We're going to go and fucking find them. We're going to tase them. We're going to fucking put them in jail. And we're going to ransom them. Because they don't want to waste a regen life. So they'll pay the ransom for being captured. Like, you're going to see shit like that of where, like, players are captured by other players and ransomed. I can almost see it, like, eventually. If regen didn't quite work the way it did.
Yeah, I could see that.
How the
too.
AI bot is going to work, because there's supposed to be, it was on each game package. Initially, it was supposed to be you're supposed to get like one bot with each game package, if I understood that correctly. So it's like depending on how many game pack, up to so many, like 3 bots or whatever. So you can have these AI bots sit in your ships. They're going to be dumbed down, and the human player will be better. But this will still give you an aspect to put something in your ship to maintain like at a
Break
minimum
through it.
level.
Yeah. Here's what I think, Trevor. I think you know how every space station you go to, and even where we're chilling at Grimhex right now, there's bars everywhere. I think they are going to be places where you go in and you can start chatting up NPCs and hiring NPCs out of bars and stuff for like salary amounts, and that's going to be how you get like these crude NPC people. Is you're going to have to actually hire them, and if your ship crashes or blows up or goes down, you have to go and rehire them. What was that, Faye?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just recommending that, like, going in the idea of persistence, like, that specific NPC, they die with your ship, they die.
Yeah.
Hey, is my bounty popped yet on Bounty Hunter?
I'm not sure. Also, anyone in the chat, let me know what you guys think of some of these ideas, or things that you want to see, or things you'd like to hear our opinion on. Because, like, I'm curious of what everyone thinks on these topics.
No, I do say it would be really cool for me to, like, if I'm just playing solo and my friends are, to just, like,
yeah,
hire
it's
a
in
guy.
here.
Just to hire a guy to be on my Cuddy Black.
Yeah, it's just like, no, they're going to have two things.
Gunner, yeah.
One is AI blades, and that's going to be things for, like, if you just want a turret to kind of auto-target, like a Port Olisar turret, where it's kind of fucking useless, let's be real, where it just, like, shoots in that direction, and unless they're dead stopped, it's almost useless. That's going to be what, like, AI blades are for in turrets. But then you could take it one step farther. If you had one of these hired NPCs, he'd be in the turret and be, like, slightly better. Or you could hire him on your Cuddy Black and be like, what I want you doing is, like, sitting in the back, like, organizing cargo or just, like, guarding the ship type thing. You know what I mean? Like, kind of what you're thinking. And I think that's why the bars
I
are
want to
there.
send someone out. I want to send someone out to do something for me. Be like, hey,
Do, like,
go take care of my... Yeah, like Garrison. Go take care of my light work, dude.
Well, I think when base building comes in, that's another thing for NPCs. You're going to be like, I want you to patrol
go
around
get this
this
material
area.
or something.
Yeah. Or send
Yeah, I
them
don't
on
think we're
runners.
gonna get I don't think we're
it'll
gonna
be
get
like that.
NPCs like that for some time, though.
Yeah,
a
I
while,
know.
100%. We're gonna get AI blades, not crazy far into the future, I think. But like,
Yeah, AI
NPCs
blades
are-
I could see coming soon.
yeah, NPCs are way past that. Now here's the thing. Back to what we were talking about, the Banu and the Starfarer, and then like merchanting and stuff like that, and trade, and like the actual economy working through players, is we're going to be testing this, and I can't wait to see Pyro, like 4.1, 4.2. It's going to be the big showing of how all this goes down. Because
Here-
we're going to be
Here's
running
something.
like our own little mini space stations in certain places in Pyro, where we have a Banu, a Starfarer, a fleet defending it, and on the Banu you have people selling equipment and also buying things from people like miners or people who are looting bunkers or doing things over there that don't want to go back to Stanton, where you're doing like trades for like, okay, I'll sell you med pens, drinks, this, that, and the other thing, and I will buy all your Hadnite off you for like a reasonable price, and then you can fill up at the Starfarer, and then we will merchant everything back to Stanton and come back with more supplies. So that I can't wait to see how that comes into the game.
Here's the big thing, Jesse. I think that the pricing system, the pricing model for Quantum,
Yeah,
I think they're actually going to kick that into effect either slightly before or slightly after Pyro comes out.
I'm thinking like a 4.2 type thing. That's why I'm giving this game until 4.2 before I tell like all my friends you got to play this game, or I start giving like super harsh criticism of like, this will never be
Like,
what we all want.
What's going on? What's taking? Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's like after Pyro and all the bugs come in, then PES is a thing. They probably have light server meshing, and then they have 2 patches to fix all the problems that they've created, and then you'll get an idea of like how things are looking.
Yeah, I think bug fixing is not going to be on their kind of priority list at all until server meshing is done.
Oh yeah, true. Well, what kind of bug fixing are we talking about? Because there's some that you can take care of that doesn't require, like you would think would require server meshing.
Proper kind of polish, like just ironing. I mean, some bugs might get fixed before then, of course, but I think that a lot of the server-related bugs, I think they're going to persist until server meshing is here.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. One thing, shifting gears, I think I'll be having multiple characters, so one lives on a ship in a different system, so that I don't have to fly back and forth. One does ship job. Yeah, one does ship jobs, another one does other jobs, etc. I see there's a lot of multiple accounts being ran. I can see that.
I have 3, so I was like, I have 3 accounts, and whenever they do like Siege of Orison, I have one just sitting at Orison just to like if I want to do it, I can do it without having to fly in and do all
I don't see them ever cracking down on multiple accounts, because if anything, that'll just be like I'm saying, it's like more people who probably have like one insurance a month being paid for or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also an extra source of money for them, which is why Blizzard didn't really care about multi-boxers unless they were.
Yeah, they're like, hey, cha-ching.
Multi-boxing in WoW was a little. They did crack down that eventually, because that was super aggressive of the way that game is set up.
It became gameplay ruining.
Yeah, it broke the game, because you'd have like 20 people skinning behind each other on follow. It was just kind of ridiculous. But like, this game, it wouldn't work like that. You couldn't have 5 ships following each other through the verse, all connected to each other. Because what would happen is like, one, there would probably be some extra external program doing that would probably trip their anti-cheat or whatever, and that would get you like banned. But also, if you ran into somebody, he would nuke you and all your ships, and then have 5 ships to scrap. You know what I mean? It would be like not advantageous for you, pretty much. Like,
whereas using it like how people use ults in Black Desert, like parking them at a boss, or Siege of Orison, for instance, is a much more feasible. And I don't really think that's game breaking too much.
No.
I mean, it's a convenience. It's not
it's
like
convenience, totally.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like, you have one character, let's say you're out Nyx, and then you're like, fuck, I forgot something in Stanton. You have your other character, get on, throw that shit in a ship, and start jumping out towards Pyro, or whatever, so that you can be on your other guy and be like, yeah, it's coming. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
I
have
wish
to
we
fly
could
all
touch
the way
on
back.
mail. Like, what are
Mail?
we doing
Yeah.
about mail? Yeah.
Here's two things.
Like shipping, you know what I mean? Like, it's got to be a thing.
Tabs with...
I think it's going to be
Physicalized?
player done.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
physicalized.
With server meshing, or like not even server meshing, but like with like PES and all this stuff, and like multiple systems, I see there being, since global chat's going, I see there being more of like a delay on transmissions. Just like, you know how it takes like 5, 6, 7 minutes to transmit from Mars to here? I see that being like it takes 10 minutes for a message to be transmit across from Pyro back to Stanton or something like that.
You're going to have data runners.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hold on. For like shipping items, though.
That's what I was
think
more
he
talking
saying,
about.
Yeah, physicalized things. I think it'll be kind of like basically
job.
you'll be creating a mission,
Yes.
right?
Like a server
for somebody
speaker.
to go pick this stuff up and move it.
Yeah, no, that's where I
And-
see insurance on items almost having to become a thing, though.
Yeah.
Dude, Space FedEx. Oh my god.
Yeah. Where
Space
it's-
FedEx.
Like if
Yeah,
your
dude,
package...
space.
Well, with PES, it would be almost like if Buddy's ship wrecks somewhere or something happens, you'd
That
be
would
like,
suck.
where's all my stuff? And he'd be like, it's floating all in space here.
Well, remember
And you
the
could go there
missions
and
we're already
salvage it.
doing right now, where like they say, "Hey, go check up on this like Kovalex space shipping place."
Yeah.
I think there's a package there. Like, imagine that. Like, okay, let's just say this. Let's say you have items and they all accrue like at one Kovalex like shipping hub. Let's say that person that's like gonna pick those items up literally picks up like 12 boxes of different players' stuff, and it's going to the same location. Imagine like that thing blows up in the middle of space or something. That it's like then it triggers another like retrieval.
Yeah.
Like,
This is what I'm saying. With
that'd
PES,
be
you could do that.
crazy.
Of where
Yeah, I know.
if you put out a contract for somebody to take something from Stanton to Pyro, and then they put it on, you can see that box traveling. And then let's say the box stops somewhere. You would still have it marked on your map to where like you could fly out there, find the wreckage of his ship, comb through it, find your box, and be like, "That's mine, thank you," and then just
fucking tracking,
salvage it.
like UPS tracking, ship tracking on it, where it gives you like a number and you just like watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, but that would be funny though. Like, I'm not knocking it. Like, that would be
That'd be
so
cool.
like if they want to go that like route, that's how they're gonna have to do it. They said themselves no space magic, right? They try not to do.
Yeah.
They're trying to make everything work like.
That's why they're not
from
doing
the player,
teleporting.
You know,
You have to travel from here to Odin's
that would be
system,
so
and it takes
horrible
2
if
hours.
you. Yeah, if you could just teleport places, like that would just be. That'd be.
You're gonna
just-
see things like, I don't know what they call them, but almost like regeners, where they have like a second account that they don't give a fuck if he dies 100 times and gets replaced, because they're just gonna have them from like, you're gonna see orgs with this of, let's say they're trying to communicate from like Odin all the way back to Stanton, instead of taking like 20 minutes to send a message or 2 hours to travel there. They're going to have a player that dies in Odin and his regen is in Stanton, and he just immediately shows up and starts like spamming the fucking chat at the boys where it's like direct communications or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just
I'm heading to bed, guys.
I think that'd be
See
cool.
you.
Have a good one,
See you
Stas.
Later. Have a good one.
Take it easy.
I don't know.
Hey, there's
Dude.
some really fucking cool stuff that's coming though. Just
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
as long as it actually gets done, I think it'll be mint in the future.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's why I my big thing is I'm just gonna kind of enjoy the ride until 4.2. Then I'll have some like real kind of making up my mind about things. But I can see then they're already saying that like a Squadron 42 release date is like not like they're kind of kicking it. It's not any. It's not. It's definitely not coming out at CitizenCon because they said that's definitely not coming. But it's like.
Yeah.
You could probably
I think
see
it's
like
close.
the next one or something, that being like, we have a date. It's a year and a half, or like a whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, released it. Like,
Well,
I mean,
like-
they already said 90% of the game is playable or something. Now
They said
I
they're
don't know
play
if
testing.
y'all-
The first third is like they're doing like full run throughs where it's like They're checking
Yeah.
for bugs. They're play testing the first third.
Yeah, a lot of it's AI right now though, because
Yeah.
the AI is
Also-
really their huge thing.
Yeah.
If you look on the RSI tracker and look at the Squadron 42 section,
Yeah.
they're done with all of the chapters of the game.
Yeah, I'll up to like chapter 27 and everything. They are like, if they're not working on the last bit of it right now, it was done a month ago, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it kind of sounds like to me really what's going on is just they're kind of wrapping it up.
Here's what I get is
getting it
they're
done.
doing like a proofreading. Then you're probably going to see like a little bit more work to be done in chapter 3, a little bit more work to be done in chapter 5, 6, 10. Then they kind of like proofread it, play test it again, and then they start doing like the polish and all the other shit that goes along with it, and getting a marketing campaign together, and all these other things that go into launching a game.
Yeah, I think probably next year we'll end up getting a release date.
And I have a feeling that release date will be like coming holiday season next year or some shit. Like, so it's like over a year.
I think it's close.
Yeah.
I think it's close.
Yeah. That's why I could see it being
I have a good feeling about the game.
Yeah.
I have a really good feeling about it. Like I hope it's going to be as epic as
Yeah, I know your opinion on it, Tabs, from the other night, but like, the more I think about it, I went back and watched the trailer again. I fucking am. The more I look at it, the more I think about it, the more I actually like roll it around in my head of like what this is going to be. The more I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to play this. It's going to be fucking cool just to walk around, watch the environment, and stand there in the... Like, did you ever play Metro Exodus? Like, that was one of those games of where, like, I kind of stood around and was, like, enjoying just, like, the NPC banter and talking to everyone and seeing what they all had to say and fleshing out the story because I was kind of enjoying being there. Where I think... I can't wait for that type of stuff when you're walking around the Javelin and you're going and talking to every NPC. And it's just, like... They're fleshing out more of the Star Citizen universe through like the lore in Squadron 42.
I think you'll learn a lot about the lore just in the game itself.
That's what I'm
like
thinking.
If you don't know about it, it's like
my opinion on it, Dead Steve. But I'm still excited to play it.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the more I think about it, the more excited I get to play.
That's all. I'll tell you this: when that drops, the day it drops, I'll be playing nothing but that.
Yeah.
Until like I guess get through it. Like we'll all be playing it probably like in the channel to, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Like that's how
like
I was with like Red Dead with my buddies. Like we were always we were always like playing it together with like no spoilers if you jump at kind of like that stuff. Yeah.
I can't fucking wait. Cool. And like I think it's
I am excited over the fact that it is a long campaign.
I want it to be like 60
90 hours.
Yeah.
I thought it was like
a full playthrough. It's supposed to take 90 hours.
Yeah, it's 60 single player, then 30 extra hours for main story, and then 30 hours for like the side stuff, like you said, like a full
listening to every NPC and doing every little thing and flying around every corner of the mission and like doing every objective and not just like speed running the game.
Rushing
speed
through
running the game.
Even
is gonna be
speed
like
running it at
plus.
60 hours. Yeah, it's like crazy.
Yeah.
That's
like
gonna be
probably
fun.
like under 50 if you like skip every cutscene type thing.
Yeah.
But then you
why would you do that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, paid for it.
To get the F8 Lightning really fast. That's one.
Yeah, like who's that first PvP player who speed runs it and shows up in the PU with the F8? He's gonna be like...
He like glitches and no clips through the wall just to skip missions, you know?
Yeah, just so that he can be like slapping people outside Olisar with the fucking F8, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, Connie Inbound. This is why I like sitting out here and just looking out this window.
Dude, it's so
just
cool.
So awesome.
Yeah. Like, Tabs, this is what kind of came up with my idea to just kind of like shoot the shit here this evening and record it. I was walking around Grim Hex, and I was up at this bar area where there's all the benches and you're looking out the asteroid field. And I brought up to Mace. I was like, how cool would it be if you're doing kind of like a Star Citizen podcast where all the people who are kind of sitting there and talking were like in the game at either like the Voyager bar or around a bar at the 890 or like sitting at the benches at Grim Hex. And then Mace even said, and if they had the like the FOIP on, like the face over IP on, and it was there, like you're actually having like an in-game
Take your helmet off,
discussion.
just-
Yeah, it'd be cool as
Oh
hell.
yeah, that'd be
Well, not
cool.
not in game, but like still in Discord, but just like
Yeah.
mouse moving.
Yeah. It'd just be cool. It'd be atmospheric as hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We need to go to
Yeah,
one of
one
those.
thing.
We just need to go to one of those friggin' bars at the like main cities, like the one at like New Babbage or Orison.
I should have been
something.
streaming this whole fucking time.
Yeah. That's why I said, I was like, all right, Mesa, hold what you're saying. I'm going to turn this on because we did this the last couple nights and I have it recorded in clips and I don't want to edit those clips. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
another thing that Shifting Gears said here, he was like, Thanksgiving next year, hoping that's for the release date. And then he said, in VR, can't wait. And that brings up a funny thing is I heard a couple people say this game will never be in VR. Today,
It will be.
Today,
It will be.
fucking Digital was playing. He was using his VR in the game, except for it's ran through
Yeah, you
a
can-
third-party thing. But
You
like,
can
it's a
download
thing
third-party
already.
You can
stuff.
do it.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
He said it was just heating up his graphics card because of how the third-party thing works. If it's
Yeah,
streaming
yeah.
twice at the same time.
They'll have a true like
Yeah.
like not toggle, but a mode that when you start up, it'll
Yeah.
say it launch in VR or something.
Yeah.
I feel like that'll be coming at some point.
And
Yeah.
it'll be like you're playing on low graphics or whatever the fuck, just so
Yeah,
your machine doesn't
something.
blow up. But like, I'm
Yeah.
sure as VR and
Well-
things get better, it'll be optimized in like 5-10 years. from
Yeah,
now.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I think it'll be a very long time before we get Star Citizen
Yeah.
in VR.
Like true VR, like
Official
actual
support,
Star
yeah.
Citizen. Yeah.
The other thing
Yeah.
though is Digital was talking about today. He was seeing that the 4090 was up for sale, and he was like looking at one of them right now, and it was like
Eh,
3 or
Are-
4 grand
Are
or
they
some
out
shit.
already?
He said it was like
Nah,
4
they
grand
shouldn't
you
be.
could buy one, and he said it was 4 grand the 4090.
Huh.
I was like, that's incredible.
well, that's a scalper. Like they've already
Oh,
released like
100%.
projected. Like
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I was like, whoever's selling
Let
them
me-
is
let me
making a
look.
fortune.
I'm going for what I'm gonna do is either get a 40. I'm gonna get a 4080 if I can get one.
Yeah,
If that's the
I have
case.
the 3080 right now. Runs this game like butter, so I can't imagine
Yeah.
with like the 40 series graphics cards. And like, take that to the
Yeah.
next example. The 50 series graphics
Oh,
cards.
yeah, it says
when that's
4090
out.
in October right now.
Yeah, like imagine when the 50 series graphics cards are out, and this is optimized better. Like that combination of tech getting better and this being more optimized, I can't imagine. You know what I mean?
That's really interesting, though. The 40 series are coming so soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says 4090 what October, and then it says 4070 4080 November, which is
Yeah.
where they're launching the 4090 first.
Shifting Gears
That
says
is
he could get
strange.
it for 2,700 USD for the 4090, which is a fortune.
Still got to be scalped.
like-
That's still got.
Oh,
or
it's
scalp,
definitely
like,
definitely
price.
scalped.
Has
But
to
like
be. Yeah.
whoever bought all them immediately probably got them for 1,700 and
God,
is just
yeah.
making a G each one, maybe. Like,
Yeah, I just found an article that is about how they got leaked on a couple of retail websites,
Huh.
yeah,
and their like baseline prices for the 4090 is 2,600.
okay.
The
So that the
Gigabyte
4090 was
RTX
always
4090.
like the 90s were always the most expensive.
Yeah, so the
Well, they're
gigabyte
saying-
cards that they got coming out are looking to be around 3,100 or 2,920.
That's kind of weird. I hope that
It's like
because
everything,
the
they come
projected
down in
ones were
price.
like
Like the 30 series
like-
are coming down under 1,000 right now.
yeah, like the 4070 is supposed to be like in the 500 range, and then the 4080 is supposed to be like an 800 range, and then they were saying that the 4090 is supposed to be in the like 1200 to 1400 range. It's kind of weird that that's that much.
Yeah.
Well, that's also
Interesting.
Australian pricing that's converted to USD.
Yeah.
So this is
Oh.
also another country's pricing. It's just
Yeah.
converted over. So it might be in the US, it might be cheaper.
Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna get it. That's the thing is I'm shying away from the 4090 just because I don't think my system can handle it. I'd have to buy a new probably a power supply and stuff.
It would
so
definitely be
I'm
like right now
I'm
you
good.
said you were running on a 1080.
I'm on a 1080 and I
Yeah.
still am running this pretty well.
Here's the thing. If
What's-
like I'm sure
how
you
many-
could have a 2080 and your system works perfectly fine for like a 2080.
No. Mm-mm. Definitely not.
Well, I don't know exactly what he
How-
said, but he says his graphics card was the lowest end of all his parts.
How?
Who?
Well, okay. How many watts is your powers?
Oh, mine? It's just it's
Yeah.
a gold like 1,000. I think it's 800 or 750. It's like one of those 750 ones.
Yeah, you would be hard pressed to run a 2080 Ti on that.
Well, let's
No,
just say like
yeah,
a
that's what I'm
2050
saying,
then
yeah.
or some shit. You know what I mean? But like,
Well,
I was saying,
wouldn't
if you
go
got
even
like
that
a,
far, yeah.
if you had like a low end upgrade, not a low end, but like you found a good deal on like a 20 series, is what I'm getting at, and then you use
Yeah.
that, I'm sure that could get you through until you went to just do like a whole nother computer build and then just go kind of
Yeah.
all out on like the 40 series, everything to match it. You know?
But
Yeah,
there's
because
Yeah.
I was thinking about buying a 3090 Ti, but upon
690.
looking at the power requirements and the power
It's
connectors,
ridiculous, dude.
I went fuck that because I would have
Yeah.
to completely rebuild my PC because I
Yeah,
have
I was doing the same thing,
1,100
too.
power supply.
I was thinking
Yeah,
the
I
same
was
thing. I was
like,
like, oh,
"Ugh."
get 4090 Ti or 3090 Ti, let's do it. And then I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, that would be another power supply.
Shifting gears, just ordered a 3090 Ti last night when I was hammered. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Just when I was
Yeah.
hammered. Hopefully you don't get a bag of sand.
Oh yeah, it'd be
So,
terrible. Yeah, I ordered it off
good
some
luck.
like it wasn't quite reading, and it
Yeah.
was like a picture of a 3090. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What was I gonna say? That was like, I'm probably good for like 2-3 years until I need a new fucking computer. But I honestly can't wait till whenever I go to get a new one, because like you're saying with like how much their need for power supply and stuff, I'm not somebody who cares about like the form factor of it. I honestly would be fine if like computing went back to like a fucking cabinet-sized goddamn computer if it was like amazingly powerful. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I'd be fine
I'm
with
actually
like
gonna get
a
my
2
stream
by
going
2
real quick.
box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't care if there was literally in like the corner of the room, in like an air conditioned, air filtered box was like components. You know what I mean? Like I'd be fine with that if it was like amazingly powerful. Like I don't want it to have to fit in like like the fact that I get they keep making things smaller, but I'd be okay with it if they're like, well, if we made it 25% bigger, it'd be 50% more powerful. I'd be like, I'm in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It just sucks. Like, I don't know, even if I even get my hands on it, they're just talking about, even if it does come out in November, it's going to be limited for sure, limited supply.
Yeah. I forget what tab it was, but I think it was. I know it was Emperor. I don't remember what he posted it in though. But I think he said he got like a 2080 Super or something like that the other day for like a couple $100, like used maybe. Or I forget exactly what it was, but it was one of these things where he's like, "This is going in my son's computer" or some shit. So like, I'm sure
Yeah.
you could probably get some like pretty decent deals on. Oh wait, is this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of the 20 series cards, you can pick them up for like $200-300.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, like
Mhm.
because of all those like Bitcoin miners who are just tits up right now.
Well, it's like, I don't even want to risk buying anything from getting something that's been run like
Yeah, I know.
24/7.
I
You know what I
understand.
mean? Like the chance of,
Well,
yeah.
It's been shown that actually has no effect on performance. It might
As long
have
as it's not like
an effect on its
overclocked and big
longevity.
bang
You know,
or something.
It
Like
has
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely has to do with longevity. So like but then again, like you said, if it's just like a quick little like, hey, I'm just
you
using
spend
this for
$200-300 and it gets you through another
Yeah.
Yeah,
year or two.
you
or
also
another
gotta
year or something.
think. Yeah, you also got to think too. Realistically, you're getting like $1,000 off some of those cards.
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
So like, buying them right now is probably the best pricing you're ever gonna get.
Yeah, and I just don't want to. We're so close to the new ones that it's like I just
Yeah,
don't want
I
to
hear
pull the trigger yet. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
I got lucky with those Virpals to where I didn't pull the trigger literally like the month before. Then they released the new version of the Alpha Prime. So I was like, thank God, good things come to those that wait. You know, it's like, I could have been stuck with like the ones that came out just before. And plus, not only that, they dropped the price on those sticks too, like for the new series. So like, if I would have bought them a month before, I would have even gotten them for the like reduced price after the new ones came out. So it's like, I'm so glad I waited like that month.
Yeah.
So the same thing with this. I'm like using the same like logic. I'm just gonna wait, and my 1080 is working fine. I am using a 5900X right now, like an AMD CPU. So I was like, well, what matches pretty good with that is like a 3080 Ti or something like that, or a 3080, which I was gonna do for a while, but then I'm just like,
Yeah.
dude, I'll just wait for
Yeah,
the 4080.
I just noticed the time. It's like almost 4 a.m, so I'm probably gonna
Yeah, you
cut this short.
You better go
But,
to bed, dude.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
Oh, for the
It was good
day.
talking to you guys, though. It was definitely an interesting conversation. But I'll probably
Yeah,
get on tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Have a good evening.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah,
Later.
later.
See-
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. That was an interesting chat. Definitely a few interesting topics. Thanks for stopping by the stream. Good to see you shifting gears. Try not to get too hammered and buy random things off the internet. Never good. All right, 07. See you next time. Also, let me know if you enjoyed that random chit chat about Star